record.
Yeah, we'll start getting too deep into it.
All right, let's go.
Too deep into it. Okay.
Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to the Big Press Podcast. It is our pleasure to introduce to you someone that is really close to us. He's an astute businessman. He has achieved a lot, but he, by his own admission, would find it pretty hard to talk about some of the accomplishments that he has achieved. And he's here to talk about that. He's here to talk about other things, his journey as a man, as a father, as a husband. And it's our very special honor to introduce you to Mr. Zeb Riddell.
Thanks, boys.
Welcome on board. Also, it's such a blessing. You know, we count our blessings, and we do that by ensuring that we recognize the things around us, and how the people around us as well have been a part of the journey that we call life.
Yeah, awesome.
And to have you part of our podcast and to join us here, I think it's such a blessing, because it's always been really important that we remind ourselves that don't necessarily stay humble, but stay grounded.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
And it's good to have you on board.
Thanks,
just to share your life and your perspectives with us.
Yeah.
But Bigfoot Press, trying to catch that elusive.
What a journey, man! Like,
thanks, Will.
I remember when we started this, we talked about going back 20 kgs, bro. Zeb, we go back 20 years. You haven't put on a kg at all, bro. This guy, have a look at the specimens.
Some of us, just a very, very, very few of us, age graciously, and then there's myself, who's good gracious. Put down those biscuits.
Wow, boys still look good. Man, still look good.
So we talked about how we're now suddenly in our 40s, and man.
Wow.
Oh man,
where do you start on that?
How far do we go back? Man, I've always seen you, Zeb, as someone who's been quite daring. You push the boundaries, and man,
push the boundaries.
Yeah, you push the boundaries in the right way. Like if no one's going to ask a question, you bet your bottom dollar if Zeb Riddell is in that crowd, he's going to ask the question. He's going to ask the question, and even in moments where it's been like awkward, you've been able to break the ice for so many of us, and so we'll wind it right back, Zeb. What's your heritage, brother?
Yeah, okay.
And for those who are watching,
okay. So heritage. My father is Māori Pākehā, so Māori side of the family is from the Te Arawa, Ngati Rangatihi, from a place called Maratā. So that's my father's side of the family. My mother's side of the family is my grandmother's Samoan Norwegian. Wow. So they're from Aliasar.
Wow, what a mix.
Yeah, and then my grandfather is English, so he's from a place called Yorkshire in Bradford. Yeah, wow. So a bit of a mix.
Aliasar, that's up in the hills?
Yeah, up in the hills, in the hills. So it's beautiful. Beautiful spot. Being lucky enough to... I lived in Pangua for a little bit as well, so I got lucky enough to go and experience the culture and be amongst it all. So it's beautiful spot. Beautiful spot.
Pangua's a bit of a strange trip as well.
It's different, man. It's different. It's different. I think for me, because you get to you go across to obviously Western Samoa is what they used to refer to it as, and then broken English, and it's. You go on a half an hour or 45-minute plane ride to Pangua, and then, man, it's American accents, it's left-hand drive, it's people are flying their flags, not only the American flag, but flying the Pangua flag as well.
Did you find, over there, because, in New Zealand you grow up and, we go, broken English. Yeah. And then you go over there and they're like, broken Samoan.
It's very hard. Yeah, very true, very true. It's just different, man. Like, there was always that kind of, back then as well, I think, because this is going back to about 2005, I think I went over there. Yeah. Was, kind of that, like, almost us versus them. I guess like that Australia versus New Zealand type situation. But, man, the people in Pangua were beautiful. Met some beautiful people there. One of the Usos actually lives over here now. We keep in touch with Drew.
Yeah.
My Lord Drew. I had a great time over there. It was a good time, but I think the best thing was spending time with my family. That was the best thing, man. So
you've got quite a diverse background.
Yeah,
and it's hard not to take notice of the Sungai Miki that that you have there. We don't get to see the. But man, that's a massive undertaking.
Nah, thank you. That was I guess because I'm a lot of nationalities. Obviously, not just Samoan, and I think for me, it's probably what was it's what I grew up with. I guess it's what I probably identified with a lot more as a youngin. I didn't really get to know my Māori side of my family until I was probably about 12 or 13. That was because my dad was raised, he wasn't raised by my koro, he was raised from his mother. He actually took his mother's surname, which is Riddell. So my dad's really a Perenara. So TJ Perenara, his dad, my Uncle Tommy, and my dad are brothers. But he was raised with the Riddells, which are Pākehā. So I was raised, so I didn't really have that gravitation towards my Māori side until probably my cousins later on, until I hit my teens. And my Māori side, my Samoan side was always I had a lot to do with my nana. She was a big part of my life, and I think that I naturally gravitated towards that, the culture, and then later, grew up in South Auckland, and then obviously you're around a lot of, you're growing up around those kids, and that's something I kind of identified with a lot more then. And it wasn't, I guess for me too, just around the journey, around getting it done, because my best mate actually asked me to do it. Few years, probably about 6-7 years ago now, and he asked me to be a saw, and he was going over to Samoa to go in with the Suliapes. So he was fortunate enough to get tattooed from the dad and the two sons. But for me, man, it just wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time for me. I think it wasn't until really later I reflected on it and the reasons for I get it, and we know the reasons. People, it's the rite of passage, and it's also the service to your family or to your village. And for me, it was big part of it. For me was with my mum passing. I think for me in that stage, mum's siblings didn't really embrace the culture. And a year after, my nana passed away, and so that for me, I almost felt like that connection was almost lost. And what I didn't want to happen was to my kids to grow up and not understand that, you're Samoan, you're Māori, you're English as well. They're also Lebanese, which is a big part of, my mother-in-law speaks Arabic to them, which I love. So she speaks Arabic to them. So all cultures are important. And I just wanted, the whole reason for my journey was to represent my culture in honor of my mum and my nana, to wear it proud. People go out and they ask, and there's the story behind it, and so that was my main intentions around getting it done.
Was it something you spoke about, it just wasn't the right time, so it wasn't the right time for you.
I think as a man too. So I don't think I was. I think as when I at that time, even though I had a family, I was probably still a bit too much focus on myself. So instead of the family, even it's funny because you do everything, and from a professional point of view, everything I do is for my family. But I think a lot of my career as well, I say that, which is true, but there's other layers to that. It's also because I like being challenged. I want to go and prove myself, and I like being in a situation when people say, "Oh, this is going to be a tough," or you can't do this. So for me, that challenge as well. There's a bit behind that as well. So I think for me, was I was in the right time in my life to get it, because it wasn't just it is in service to my family and that recognition as well. So I think that was a big part about it.
Oh, that's awesome,
man. That's. Do you want to jump in? I've got a million questions. Go. Now. Yeah. I feel like it's going to be a 4-hour podcast, but
it's all good.
Man, coming up as a young fella, did you ever, and I hear this a lot, especially around half-caste kids.
Yeah.
you're never quite brown enough or you're never quite 100%. White enough.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Yeah, to an extent. The good thing when you grow up in, like, I grew up in Mangere Bridge, like, colour wasn't really a thing. It really wasn't. Like, to be fair, it wasn't. I think if anything, those questions was probably coming from myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And I even had this conversation with Joe as well when I was, just around, because obviously everyone's got a different opinion around getting the better and why you get it. And am I enough Samoan to wear it? Those types of questions. Or you can't speak the language. I know phrases and I understand a little bit, but I think those types of battles I probably had with myself.
Yeah.
But as a kid, no, I never really thought about it, to be honest. I think for me it was, you just got along with everyone. And it's not probably till you got to high school, then you kind of started seeing divisions, and it was more against the Samoans and the Tongans. But even when I was there, man, it was just like, man, I had my tokos and my usos. It didn't really matter. I was with everyone. So,
what high school did you go to?
Only Hanga.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I only did Only Hanga for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I went 6th and 7th form.
Yeah.
And then for my 3rd, 4th, and 5th form, I did homeschool.
Oh wow!
So
I didn't know
did
that.
homeschool, man. So pretty much, bro. The main reason was, I think, I was just hanging around with the wrong crowd, doing stupid stuff, and then Dad pretty much said, well, if you're going to be an idiot, then I'll teach you. You can do school at home, which was probably the worst thing for me because he just gave you more time to do stupid stuff. So it's so I only went to high school 6th and 7th form, and I loved it, man. It was the best. They were awesome years. But those 3 years at home, they were got up to a lot of mischief. Were
you in the principal's office?
Exactly.
Man.
But in saying that, though, like, I mean, the 2-3 years that you had at home, probably for you probably the worst time. But like, do you think maybe that would have like laid a sort of a platform where you sort of maybe saw things differently from how we going to school every day?
Maybe I think
in regards to like maybe like the way you are, we're like, if something's there and doesn't look right, you're going to ask that question. Whereas a lot of us growing up, sometimes it does look right, we just accept it.
Yeah, maybe
also.
I think what probably really kind of molded me from a young age was my upbringing, and I guess with my mum was the religion that I was raised in. I think that for me, not that I was not practicing, haven't for a long time, but I think if anything, because when you're at home, a lot of the catch-ups were with people from your congregation or your church. So I think if anything, that probably gave me that, ability, skill, whatever you want to call it, to have skills that I have that were transferable later on in life.
Yeah.
And things was like, you used to go around knocking on people's doors and talking to them about religion. Like, man, it doesn't get much harder than that.
Man, that's massive.
That's scary.
From the knock on the door to them opening the door, and then you're trying to find common ground in that first when you're opening your mouth, that's really a tough thing to do.
Yeah. So
I think that was a great skill I was able to utilize later on in life. And then also just talking at our congregation, being able to go and, 10 years old, getting up in front of 110, 120 people. You study, certain parts about the Bible, and then be able to actually talk about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think that was a really great thing for later on in my professional life, whatever you want to call it. Because I think through the religion as well, and especially when you're knocking on doors, you've got to really learn to mirror and match people.
Yeah.
So, by the way I talk to you, or if I knock on the next door and I'm talking to an 80-year-old lady, obviously there's different tactics to try and generate interest.
Yeah.
And it's not that those things were taught to you from the church. It's just, I guess, from going through. It's like anything in life. If you're doing something repetitive, 1,000 times, you start picking up different ways to do it, and different ways that you may be able to do it better. So definitely, when I look at that, I am grateful that I was raised in the religion, because it's also instilled in me certain values, I think, and stuff that I still hold to this day. Even though, like I said, I'm not practicing. don't even want to mention what it is, just because I don't want to bring a bad name to the church. But but I think just for me, there was definitely some great things by going through that and being brought up in the church where I am today.
It's great that you mentioned that, because I think we grow up, and there's a lot of us there that feel a little bit embarrassed, about the fact that, we're like, some of us, think, look back and go, man, do you remember having to stand up and recite, all those things, and then you have a mate who goes, nah, I've never had to do that, but I remember I had to stand up, mum and dad were like, oh, have to get up there and bear my testimony, or those sort of things, and we kind of like frown upon it and go, a little bit embarrassed. Yeah. But as you were touching on, it was like, it's crazy how those things have enabled us
absolutely
to be able to do the the little things, like being able to respond to people, being able to talk to people, and I think a lot of that we have, well, not take for granted, but it sits there and we forget about.
You forget, mate. Yeah, and I think when you're young too, you don't really understand why you're doing it. Like, I think when you're young, you're only doing it because really you're told to do it. Like around you don't really look further or question things. It's not until you get a bit later in life that you actually start understanding. And I think there's many topics we could talk about, even our parents and the way probably they parented us, and you don't understand until you get older. That's why they parented you that way. And it's a lot of things in life. And I guess going back to the original topic about getting into your 40s, bro, absolutely, man. It's like there's different things that happen. You have different perspectives in life. I think we're always evolving, and the way that you view life now is, so it's 12 months ago, I view things differently from 12 months ago. Yeah. So definitely when you're a lot younger and you're looking at, some of the things that you're just doing because it's just, you're told to do it. It's not till later on you actually really start drilling down into, the why. So it's interesting, but I think, going back to what I was originally saying, it's just, I was very grateful to, the values and some of the skills that I've been able to transfer into work or managing people, which I think is important. Pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
Man, as a, I guess as a youngster, like I'll go back to, you mentioned TJ Perenara. Yeah. And because I know you're quite a good rugby player as well, right?
I was okay.
You made some.
I wasn't. I made it Auckland. Like I made it Auckland 19s, but I think not one of those ones that said, "Oh, I came over here and injured my leg and I couldn't play anymore." So I just wasn't good enough. I just wasn't good enough. And to be fair too, I probably didn't apply myself as well as I could. Yeah. But I don't think. I think I didn't have the skill or probably the determination. Or the physical side of things to be, especially the positions I was playing. I was always playing like blindside 8 or lock, and so I may be tall for a if you're looking at the average people, but when you're looking at the average Islanders or just rugby community, man, I was small.
McCall was in the way. McCall was in the way.
McCall was in my way.
If it wasn't for that guy, I don't know.
Exactly. Very true.
He was in the way. So
Richie McCall and Jerry Collins. Totally.
Oh man, yeah.
But so it's actually interesting and just talking about that because talent only gets you so far too. Yeah. So I think probably when I say work ethic, the reason why I say that is because talking about TJ, TJ is someone that has a strong work ethic. So, and to be fair too, like just to be frank, like I know TJ, I'll message him every now and then, but like from me growing up, I didn't grow up, me and TJ didn't really grow up together. He was based in Wellington, so I've probably seen TJ a handful of times. But every now and then, if he's, I messaged him the other day because one of the dads that, one of the girls that my daughter plays rep footy with, her dad's a ref in the Super Rugby and stuff. And it came up that he knew TJ. So I messaged him and then TJ messaged back. But TJ is someone that is, I got him to, I was doing this thing when I was at my old company, and it was called, it was a review of the month. So what I used to do is I used to have a review of the month and pretty much publish this document. The reason why I did it was I wanted my managing director to see what my team was doing. And so I got TJ to pretty much write and ask them questions around, what's it like to be an All Black? How did you get there? And he talked about it briefly in there, just saying that, he wasn't the naturally talented player, but he was the player that wanted it more than anyone else did.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he did the extras. He's always there early and he's always there afterwards. But he's just got that hunger to win. And, he does whatever it takes to win. And very few people have that, man. Like we see, especially in our, with the Māori or Pacific Islander, man, a lot of our people have talent, like natural, raw talent. And the sad thing is you see a lot of those players later in life, they don't eventuate because they just don't, they either one, don't have the network around them to help them, or two, they just don't have that work ethic or that drive to get them to where they want to go to. Man, because I'm sure by talking even to you fellas, you could mention a guy that used to go to school with or play with and go, man, he should have been an All Black. I know a few that I could name off that should have been All Blacks, but just, didn't have the network around them or didn't have the work ethic. And that's what it comes down to, man. Like if you look at, if you watch the young grades of rugby or league, it's generally the New Zealander boys. Well, it's different now because a lot of Polynesians live here.
Yeah.
But generally still in New Zealand, you see a lot of them, if we're talking historically, a lot of the Polynesian boys or New Zealand boys always dominate through the younger years. I think there's that trend going around now with a 6-year-old boy, and he's running through.
Yeah.
Right? He's just blooming.
Throwing kids.
Throwing kids. Yeah,
over the goalpost.
Exactly.
And back into the crowd and into their mum and dad's cars.
And people are getting upset and saying that, but it's like that will only get you so far.
Yeah.
And then once you start, and what the Australians are really drilled on, and what they do really well is they're all based on skill and play and running lines and actually reading the play and what to do. Because then what happens is once they start saying reaching the 16, 17-year-olds, man, they're fitter, they're smarter, they've got better skill set. Probably different in rugby. I think, New Zealand still has a really good, system for our youth coming up through for the rugby. Yeah. But definitely in the league, man, they drill them hard. And I think that's where it's a bit different. And don't get me wrong, like I don't mean that not all of our people don't have that mindset. I'm just saying that's where generally it's everyone. It doesn't matter what race you are, but it's up top, man. It's those top 2 inches is where it makes the difference, because a lot of people don't. It's just, it's how many times, silly, I've said to myself, I'll start on Monday, How many times have you started on Monday, eh?
Mondays have become the official tomorrow.
Start on Monday.
Start on Monday has become the official tomorrow.
Yeah, but then some people, bro, they just flick a switch, boom, and they just do it. Yeah. And when you come across those people, man, they're inspirational. So I mean, some people just have that drive or dedication or work ethic, and they just push. So
was there anyone like touching on that? You know, was there anyone like you growing up? In your 20s and 30s. It's amazing that we're going in your 30s.
Yeah.
But even now, like, were there like was there someone that you actually saw and thought, you know what, I like the way this person is, and I would like to like maybe mimic how they approach it, or was there anyone that you thought, you know what he or she's doing makes sense, and then sort of roll in that sort of way, or was it something that you just...
Not really, like growing up, I'm sure my dad worked hard, and when my mum, when she did work, I'm sure she worked hard, but it was never something that I was conscious of.
Yeah.
And man, if we're talking about work, man, I was my journey through work, and especially in New Zealand, was terrible. Like if I look at every job, I worked at the bank, got fired. Worked at Extra, the internet company, got fired. Worked at ASB Bank, got fired. Ended up having to walk away from a job where I was a diesel fitter. Man, my journey in New Zealand was terrible. So it wasn't really till I got to Australia. And I think there's a couple of things with this. I think one, I think I was at an age where I probably was a lot more conscious.
Yeah.
Because, what they say, males don't generally mature till they're in their late 20s anyway. So it wasn't until I got to a job where they paid me a salary, but then they also paid you commission. But the thing with the commission was that the commission was visible. So you could actually see what everyone in the company was earning. Oh. So for me, that was kind of a motivator. And that was for me, that's probably the time where it clicked.
Okay.
And that was in 2008. Because what I saw was, well, first of all, you're going to pay me $45,000, which at the time I thought, man, that's good money. But then also I can make money on top of that, commission on top of that. And then they were just picking up people like on the system. So you could go through and pick anywhere in the country, and you could see how much each operative was earning in commission. And they'll pick up this. I remember looking at someone that was earning like an additional $5,000 a month. And I was like, man, so what, you're going to get paid $45,000 a year plus pay $5,000 a month? And for me too, I think was why it kind of stood out. And I think it's I think even to this day, it's a great system, an incentive, way to incentivize people, because you're looking at it and you can physically see what people are making. So that way, I guess there's that transparency side of it. So, you know, that's where it kind of come in, I guess, that slow burn inside of me of that going, oh, I want to earn that type of money.
Yeah.
How do I earn that type of money? And then that's where my journey kind of started, like from a work point of view. And I think from there, it's kind of, that's when I started finding, I guess, what I enjoyed, and then started doing well, I guess. Yeah, doing well from a success point of view, I guess. Yeah.
And so there's like, you know, you have like the success that you touch on, and you know, just the way it changed with work. How then, you know, when you transitioned, you know, coming from where it was before you saw that job, and how did you then start to work, you know, outside of, like, did things start to change for you mentally, emotionally outside of that once that click happened? You know, when you clicked and you have a little focus, then other things don't have as much focus.
Yeah.
And you start to focus on that. I know you to be like, you know, a very family oriented person, right? And so there would have been a lot of
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been when I started that job where things clicked, and I think as well, like my wife is a big part of that as well, in the sense of making things click.
Yeah.
Just, man, when I think back about it, in all honesty, like if my daughters brought home someone like me, I'd be thinking, man, what the hell are you doing? Seriously. I even think of myself how I used to dress. Me and Zoe still laugh about it, bro. Like,
what was it about? Let's just stop there. Like, because I think behind every good man is a great woman.
Yeah.
Like,
100%, bro.
When we were younger, that was like some sort of, fabled catchphrase.
Wasn't really spoken about, really.
Nah, it wasn't.
You know, I think we came from a generation too where it was kind of like the man is the head of the family.
Yeah.
And hey, it talks about it in the Bible and all that as well. It talks about the man being the head of the family, which, you know, but I think what I've later realized in life is, my dad was the head of family, but my mum was the neck. Yeah. Like, you know, she...
Neck and shoulders,
carrying
the load.
Yeah, carrying the load. And it wasn't until my mum passed that I probably saw a lot of that. Like, you know, even mum, she was pretty amazing. Like, even when she was dying, and like everything we spoke about ended up coming true. And that was like, you know, she even said to be about, like when she passes away, she said, you know, when I die, your dad will run. And he said, your dad will, he'll just invest himself into work. That's what he'll do. He said, he'll find someone very quickly. And she said, and son, I need you to accept that. And she said, because, you know, what me and your father had, no person can take that away. And I was like, yeah. And I said, I will, Mum, I will. Like, you're obviously saying it at the time, but it's not until later on do you actually then start that stuff unfolded and it happened exactly how she said. Wow. And then, it's just crazy, man. But my mum was an amazing person. I'm sure everyone's mum's amazing.
Does it bring you comfort? Or does it bring you some sort of like, are you, is it a challenging thing for you?
So, this is what I will say.
Yeah.
Even though, like, you know, religion and all that, regardless of what religion you may be, whatever, man, watching my mum die and having a faith, man, that brought comfort to everyone.
Yeah.
I can't imagine someone, even think about myself if I was to die or told I was going to die, because Mum was really quick. Mum was pretty much from the time she was diagnosed to the time she died, it was 10 weeks.
Whoa. Wow.
So it was really quick, man. It was really quick. So, I think going through that process, watching Mum, and, through that whole process, I didn't see Mum cry once. She was a really strong lady. I don't think I'm sure she cried with Dad.
Yeah.
But the only thing that brought Mum tears, and there was one time she cried, and it was when she had an episode up at the hospital, and Mum found out that so Mum had the cancer's pancreatic cancer. So unfortunately, with pancreatic cancer, you don't get when you got the symptoms, you pretty much unfortunately you're dead. Like the data, it's not good. Yeah. So and the unfortunate thing too is we knew about pancreatic cancer because Mum lost her cousin to the same thing, and see him go through it, and it was so we already had knowledge of it. So when it came about that Mum had it, it was like it hit home really hard because we already knew what her cousin Peter had gone through. So I think watching Mum go through that, and the only time I saw Mum upset was she had pancreatic cancer, but then secondary where it had moved to next was her bowel. And that's the only time Mum cried, because she said, "I'm really sorry, son." I was like, "Sorry for what?" She said, "Oh, because bowel cancer can be hereditary, so you and your sister are going to have to get tested." So I was like, "Mum, don't worry about that. Like, don't worry about that. We'll look out." And that was the only time I saw her cry in that situation. That was the most challenging thing in my life, straight up. That was the most challenging thing in my life, watching my mum go through that. It was real special though. So because I guess at least, and me and Mum spoke about it. We were really lucky because Mum wanted a night, so she got put into palliative care. She had an episode and she was up at the hospital, got put into palliative care, and when she got put up there, it's funny, because when you're going for it, like that she's gonna die, but you don't really have I don't know if there's this voice in the back of your head saying, "Oh no, it's gonna be all right," or what. So you just, and plus, I guess it was man, losing a parent, it's when you're working through it, it's just it's new, so you don't know what to expect, how to process it. So she wanted a night up at the hospital with because there's only me and my sister, so she wanted a night up at the hospital. Just she wanted one night with me, one night with my sister, and then one night with my wife. And then my wife then got upset because then she was like, "Oh, I don't want to take that time away from, because everyone knew she was on her last legs. And she said, "I don't want to take that time away from, someone else." And I was like, "Babe, that's what Mum wants. Like, at the end of the day, that's what she wants. She wants a night with you because she wants to, spend the time with you, talk, laugh." So it was special, man. It was special. And Mum didn't know at the time, I was actually recording a lot of our conversations as well. So I think that's one thing you miss the most when they go, man, is just hearing their voice. So I recorded a lot of it, which was, so if I'm feeling down or if I want to hear her voice, I play it. And I hear her voice, and I think emotion changes over time too, because before I used to play it and just cry, but now I play it and I smile, and I was like, "Oh man, I miss Mum." So it's that type of stuff. But I think from a personal thing anyway, from a challenge, bro, that was doesn't get much harder than that. But Mum was positive. She was, the night I even recorded it, we're talking about, sometimes it's better to find out that you're going to die because you can say "I love you." You can get things in order. Some people, unfortunately, especially at the moment with these cars, people stealing cars and then hitting people and dying. Just imagine getting that news. It'd be such a shock. And I think that's, at least there was, with Mum passing that way, we got to say "I love yous," and Mum got to plan her funeral to an extent and to give her jewelry to who she wanted to and all that type of stuff. So it was, when I look back on it, it's definitely was a challenging time, but it had its, upsides to a bad situation. So
that's really that's really interesting, especially as you we were touching on with dads being and just how you're talking about Mum, and we take in that Yep, Dad's the one that's like making these big calls.
And
making the shot caller sort of thing. Where everyone sees that part. But what people don't see is, the weight that's being carried.
Very hard. The conversations behind closed doors.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, the weight that mums are carrying.
Yeah.
The emotional weight of us being fa'ali'i.
Yeah.
We don't go, Dad, you're this and that, far, what's up now? We don't do that.
No.
It's like we turn around and we let our little like frustrations show in front of mum.
Yeah.
And she carries that load.
100%.
Right? That'll be like, get out of, and they're like, okay, come here. What's going on? Despite the fact that, we're still like, very like, we just don't listen to reason when mum talks and whatnot. But no, it's amazing that you touch on that.
So I think it's not till you get older, that you actually start seeing that, I guess, getting a partner or a wife or whatever. I think there's, I made those mistakes when you think you're in a relationship. Because the thing is too, you truly are, you're a product of your environment. Like, I think in my household, like mum was predominantly a stay-home mum, and Dad worked. And I think that was from that generation where, I can't remember seeing Dad do anything around the house. Like, no disrespect to Dad, but that's just what mum did everything. So I think even, you only know what you know. And seeing that growing up, and it wasn't until later in life that I met my wife when we first started, dating and stuff. It's, okay, she works full-time, I work full-time. I don't come home and do all the house chores and stuff as well. This is 50-50. So that was a bit of an eye-opener as well for me as a man and learning, because it's like, hey, what do you mean? You don't do that as well? Man.
I'm really good at shirking stuff, man. Like, shirking like, chores and,
straight up.
And unfortunately, I think my youngest boy is going, hey, my dad did it. Why can't I do it? And I'm like, hey, mate, no. Do the dishes, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But, like I said, because I just grew up and it was, mum did everything, man. So it was, that was a bit of an eye-opener. But now I can't believe that it was that way. It's weird. But, that was, I even feel bad sometimes because, like I was talking about how the load our mums carry. And even I remember, I could have helped out a lot more as a kid, whether it's chores or just doing things around the house. And that's what, we're on our kids as well. Like, it's
hindsight is 20/20, eh?
100%. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So true, man. But just having that, it's everyone pitches in. Yeah. And especially I think the role of a female, especially in society today, is changed. Because most people, a lot of people don't have the luxury just to have the dad working and the mum stay home.
Yeah.
I think so both parents are generally working, and then you're having to juggle kids, sports, all that type of stuff. Housework. So, I wouldn't say I'm great. I'm definitely I'm not bad though. I'm not bad.
Do you think also? Do you think that maybe, as you're saying, like we are a product of our environment. Growing up, and I remember my dad. Because of like myself and my siblings, and there's a few years separating the first lot of the 9 and then the second lot of the 9.
Yeah.
And Dad had said, look, son, I'm sorry about how I was, but that's what I knew.
100%, right?
And so we look at that and we reflect back on that. Do you find just seeing yourself sometimes because of as what we see how our dad was? Yeah. Do you sometimes find yourself stepping in the same sort of direction? With
some things, but then I think, and when I talk about my mum and dad, I had an amazing upbringing, loving parents. Like most kids got hit, but you deserved it. But I never got beaten or anything like that. I had loving parents that, and there's certain aspects of the way my both parents how they did things that I guess I look at and try and have changed on the way I parent my kids. But in saying how you're saying, you're 100%, bro, because like the way and there's not that big of a gap between my eldest and my youngest. There's only 3 years, but how I parent my eldest is totally different to probably how I parented my youngest. And it's not until my wife pulls me up on sometimes as well and says, man, you're too hard on her. And the thing too, I'm hard on my kids, but is it hard, or is it just being consistent? And then we're talking about at the start about values. Man, for me, bro, that is the most important thing to have, not just only as kids, but in society, is to respect others. And so that's with my kids. Like if they're, man, it is all about respect. It's about respect for, authority, for your, whether that's teachers or whatever it may be, respect for your elders, respect for your family. It's that type of things. And so I'm hard on my kids, 100%. But the best compliment I get is when people say, man, your kids are awesome. Like, if they want to come in, they can come and stay here, or they can hold a conversation and, they can look in the person's eyes and they won't just be, oh, how are you? Good. They'll actually have a conversation with them. So I think, which was the same as with me and I know my dad especially my dad, he talked about a lot, he took pride in that as well. That with me and my sister, people used to say, oh man, you've got good kids, and because it was the same type of values, that respect and, that you have. But I do hear you to an extent also. I think, I think I definitely parent differently, not only because they're different kids, but because of the time in my life where I was 10 years ago to even how I parent now. And that type of stuff, I think I touched on before, how you're constantly evolving, how you look at things differently. And when I say too, like, you're a product environment, I don't say that as an excuse. Like, I think you can be a product and you only know what you know, but then you can also change. Like, if you're doing something wrong, you also have the ability, and you should change if you're required to. And I think it's a taboo topic, but even like with smacking kids, like for me, it's just, that's what you grew up with, that's what works. And to an extent, it does. But then there's other parents out there that can parent and they don't smack and they still have good kids. So that's what I kind of mean around, you only know what you know. It's just, you can, what do they say? 3 plus 3 is 6, but so is 5 plus 1. You can get to the end result a number of different ways, and it's the same with parenting. So I think that's where I really have in my with my wife as well, is that there's something I really respect about her. She'll never, like, if I'm doing something and it's wrong, she'll never pull me up on it, especially if it's even parenting the kids. She'll never pull me up on the spot. She'll always wait till afterwards, and then she'll go back,
So not in front of the kids.
So there's that respect as well.
Awesome.
Which is awesome. And then she'll pull me up, and then, because I can be very pig-headed on things, and then I'll think about it, and then I'll go, I'll always say thank you, or I'll talk about it another couple of days, and I was like, because when you reflect on it, and it's like, maybe I did approach that totally wrong. And that's the thing too, and that's where you realize, and that's where you know you're getting old, is because you only do it out of love. Like, it's the stupidest things was, when you hear your parents say, I'm going to smack you, it's going to hurt me a lot more than it hurts you. Like, whatever, man. So true. Yeah, bro, whatever.
That is true, eh? The guilt after, but even though you knew that you did it for a reason.
There was a reason behind it.
Yeah. But the guilt still sits there.
Yeah,
like, when I've had to
sometimes
smack my
I don't recall seeing my dad cry while he's doing it.
Exactly, yeah, bro. Tears of joy, is it? Surely. Shiva.
Oh, well, we never see our dad's tears when we're in tears, bro. It's like you never see the sweat when it's raining, man.
Bro, so true. But it is, man. It's like it's totally different. And the way I think the way I look at things now with my kids is I just try and take the best of what my parents, and man, to be fair, my parents didn't do much wrong with their parenting style with me. I'm pretty lucky. And I spoke about that with Mum when she was in palliative care as well. And I think that the only thing I said to her was like, man, I wish you didn't spoil me so much, because even that in itself breeds a like a sense of entitlement when you get later in life. And for me, that was kind of hard to adjust, even from a work point of view, but also from a relationship point of view, is you don't get everything you want, So I think, and growing up, we weren't a rich family, but we weren't a poor family. We were probably the rich family amongst my friends. But in that being said, man, if I wanted something, I got it. And so I think that's where it really didn't teach me the value of money or the respect for money and where it comes from. Or just to respect something if you get it. Like just in life, you don't get everything you want. So that was the only kind of real thing, man. I think that, and then for my dad is probably just the way he conducted himself when there was sports. And that's one thing I probably just said to my kids is I won't be that dad on the sideline. It's hard not to. It's hard not to, bro.
As soon as you said that, I thought about my moment standing on the sideline, and then like I was like heading in the direction of looking sideways at the coach.
Yeah, 100%.
But then I would go back into my thoughts and go, I remember, Joe, when you volunteered as a coach, and then those same parents were looking at you sideways, and you were like, man.
And they do, man. They get hammered. Like I feel for coaches. They get hammered, and even a cousin of mine, Henry, he was a coach in the NRL, and the amount of death threats he got. Death threats, man. Like he never had social media for the years as he was refereeing in the NRL because of the amount of death threats, and just people are disgusting what they can say. And, and I think, and that's because as well as there's not only people that are passionate, but then there's people that are betting on games and stuff. So a bad call might impact a game where they've lost, a lot of money. But I feel sorry for coaches, and that's something of not coaches, refs. I've been talking about with Tilly, my eldest, about too, is just having the respect for not only your coaches, but having respect for the refs. And if they make a call, you have to accept it. You might not like it, but you have to accept it. And I think, it's she had a rep carnival at Rockhampton not that long ago, probably about a month ago. And out of everything, that was probably the best thing that we took away from it for me, in a way, as a father scene, is that even the way they lost was quite controversial. They lost in the final. The other team scored a try that apparently was put over the dead ball line. There was one of her team members scored a try, but it was called a phantom touch, where the team member called touch, but she didn't touch her, and I was standing exactly there, and I saw that she didn't get touched, and that's where that father came into play, where I was going, bro, just walk away, don't be that dad going, no, she didn't. So I walked away from that one,
but did you?
Yeah. I did. After I showed the ref the video replay.
This is what happened in the grand final with the Roosters and the Canberra Raiders.
Absolutely. But I think, out of all of it, the best thing for me was just seeing her go through, that experience, to lose, and just to still, be humble. Lose gracefully, and tell her no, like, straight after the game, Dad, we actually, first of all, we drew that game, and then we actually won that game. It was like, Bob, at the end of the day, you lost. That's just the way it is. Like, there were some things that came into play, but at the end of the day, when you look at the stats, it's going to say 1-0, and that's all that matters. So I like that as well. Part of it was just her going through that, being exposed and experiencing that, because I think that's a lot of people don't know how to do that today, especially from a school, man. Far out. It's all about just participating.
Well, everyone gets a trophy for participating nowadays.
It's that stuff, and I definitely believe that there's a need to that to an extent, but I also believe that there needs to be, you need to be able to understand what winning and losing is, because the reality is, man, when you come out of school, bro, and you're not the right person for the job. Or anything. If you're not the right person for anything in life, there's no participation. It's, mate, you don't have the job.
You don't have the,
yeah.
It's pretty cutthroat, eh?
It's cutthroat, man. And that's the problem. They're setting our kids up to fail, because they don't really give them, yes, they do. They give them some great, tools to get on in life later on. But I find it a lot of the time too, it's just around this, what you're saying, the participation awards and all that type of stuff. I mean, kids need to understand what it feels like to win and to lose. And they also need to understand that if you want to be good at something, you got to put the work in. And I think that's where a lot of it, a lot of people have different views on that. It might be, but they're kids, you don't want to push them too hard. And I think for me, man, something that stood out to me was my auntie, so my mum's brother, my uncle Mark, he's married to a Chinese lady. And my two younger cousins, they're typical Chinese family, like in the sense, like my uncle's Samoan English, but my auntie's Chinese, and they did like abacus math, Chinese calligraphy, tennis, all these other types of out school activities, piano. And it was piano, Wow. And I remember talking to my cousin, and he was only about 10 at the time. And I was saying to him, what do you enjoy? What don't you enjoy? And, he really liked tennis, but he didn't like piano. And then I remember saying to my auntie, I said, why do you make him do piano for? And she said, because she said, in life, sometimes you've got to be good at things that you don't want to do. And I was like, man, that really stuck with me, because it's true. It's like, in life, you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do. And there's that, I guess, that discipline factor to do it. And because, I guess, playing the piano takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of dedication, and that was her view on it.
Wow.
And that kind of really sat with me. A lot of people might see that and go, I would never make my kids do something they don't want to. And each to their own.
Yep.
But I think for me, that kind of really stuck out to me, because it's like, it's true. Because, man, especially when you're working, there's lots of things you don't want to do, but you have to, because it's just part of your job. And you've got to be good at it as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing as well. You've got to be good at it. And I think, they're that really stuck with me, though. Yeah.
Man, just as you're talking there, it just reminds me of, and you touched on a really good point, like Jordan Peterson talks about how games in the developmental stages of young people are so important to establish social hierarchies, and but also what you're saying in terms of, like, someone's got to lose.
100%.
And like,
someone's got to lose, man.
You've got to figure out how you're going to handle the loss, eh?
Yeah. And going through loss as well, it's, you learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's what I kind of, when my daughter started getting better at touch, and then started playing, rep football, and I was always just trying to not bring her down, but just make her aware that there's, potentially there's going to be people that you're going to play against are a lot better.
Yeah.
And generally teams that are like Gold Coast or, Palm Beach or those types of areas. And she was like, why? And I was like, because, man, a lot of these kids, like girls as well, they go to bed with a football.
Yeah.
Or, we have church gatherings, and at church we're always playing touch or volleyball or whatever it may be, or, or the parents will play touch and the kids will play as well. So I said, it's just like anything that you do. If you do it a lot, and especially when you're playing with adults, it's only going to make you a better player. You just got to be aware that this is what you got to be up against. So if you want to be better, you got to put in extra yards. You got to train. And so she's great. So she's always, Dad, can we train today? And she wants to do the extra yards. She wants to, better herself. And that's where it's important. It's important to understand, someone's got to win, got to lose. And she hates losing, which I love. It's but I said that you can, but don't be a bad loser. Hate losing, absolutely. I think, for me, it's unnatural to not enjoy losing, but just not care. Because for me, I don't know. That's always been. I always had that hunger to win as well, not to lose. I hated losing.
It's how you refine. It's how you refine your character.
I think so.
The character that helps you take that talent and stay at the top,
think so. Again, there's those little things that you probably picked up in life from a young person that you probably apply later on in life. But then I think it's also things like, talking about the education system and things as well. Like with my girls, because they grade them on two things. They grade them on the mark, so, whether A, B, C, or D, and then they grade them on the effort. And the thing I always say to my girls is, man, honestly, I don't care about the mark. If as long as you're putting your effort is excellent, that's all I care about. Because then you can teach the other stuff. And then my eldest in a way, she's like, oh, Dad, I got like a B. And I was like, I don't care about what does it say for effort? Excellent. So that's all I care about. So if you want to improve it, then you put the work in. And that's the thing, man, is I think if someone's coachable or they're giving their 100%, man, all that other stuff you can learn. But if you can actually instill that desire to do it the best to your ability, especially when we're talking about our kids, man, that's all I care about. I don't care about anything else. as long as you do it to the best of your ability and it brings fulfillment to you, that's all good. Yeah, that's all good.
Man, we're pretty similar in that respect. Like I'm very much an effort person. Like I want to see the comments. Are you a conscientious worker? Are you polite to your teacher? Do you know?
Are you a team player?
Yeah,
all that stuff.
Contribute.
Those
sorts of things. Because
those are the most important. And it is those little things. Also, I remember, I think it was last year, and they started school, and Tilly had a boy start in her class, and the boy didn't have a pencil case or something, and she came home and she goes, oh, Mum, Dad, she goes, yeah, we had a new boy started at our school, forgotten his name, and she said, but he didn't have a pencil case. Can I give him one of my ones? And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, straight away, we're like, absolutely. And then she didn't just give him the pencil case, gave him heaps of pens and stuff, and made a gift to give to him. Yeah. It's that stuff, bro. Those are the moments when you go, oh man, what a good kid. And that's where those things of being that, strict parent or whatever you want to call it, those are when it's like, okay, we're doing something right. We're doing something right. So those are those proud moments in a way for me.
And it's like, however which way you're doing it, you're doing something right.
Doing something right, also. Doing something right. We can always do better, and I know that even my parenting style, it's not, I can probably always do things a bit differently, and I think I'm at that age now with the kids where I actually ask them, I'll ask them for feedback. With you, I don't think it's funny, but I remember my youngest, man, like, just for me, my eldest, amazing, I don't like to say compliant. She sounds like a employee. How old are you? 10 and 7. 10 and 7. But my kids are just, they listen. Yeah. They listen also. There's none of this 1, 2, 2.5. 2 and 3/4. None of that, bro. So, it's just funny because Tilly, my eldest, bro, she's 10. She is someone that listens. She's very thoughtful. She's empathetic. She's got a real high EQ. Like, she just knows how to read a situation. She'll be somewhere and she'll come over to me and she'll go, oh, Dad, what's wrong with him? Why is he upset for? And then feels that. So I love that with her. Then my youngest one, bro, she just don't care. She's just that grew up real all of vale blimmin' monster that just goes around and doesn't care, bro. And so that was frustrating for me as a parent, more for me too, because we're very similar, so we butted heads. And so for her, the way I used to discipline Tilly to the way I discipline Isla was totally different. With this one, would just like look at you, even as like 1 or 2, and just like hit me, like give you that look of like hit me again.
Come at me,
come at me,
Dad.
Yeah, throw whatever you got at me, throw it at me. So that was tough, man. Just trying to navigate through that to see how different kids they were, but she's still at an age where she still doesn't care, which is what I like. And I think what probably worries me more about my eldest is that she's a real people pleaser. So she's which is like her mum. She just wants to make sure everyone's okay. She puts her first herself, last. Make sure everyone around them's looked after, and that's where my daughter is. And so the only thing that I guess that worries me about that is I guess peer pressure and wanting to make sure. Yeah. So for us, we just try and instill enough confidence in our daughters to make them confident girls, to say no. It's okay to say no. Where I don't have that worry of my youngest, bro, because I just know if someone goes, you want to do this? She'll be like, nah. She don't care. What I am worried about is she'll be the one doing that. Hey, do you want to do this? She'll be that one, bro. Like, and we always say to my daughter, like, man, my youngest will be the one at a party, like sculling a beer can and then smashing it on her head, and then my eldest will be the one going, bro, you're so embarrassing, And
that's at church.
Yeah,
it's a church party.
but you know what? I love that. How you acknowledge the fact that you've got, you have two different approaches
also, and you have to.
And one thing that does make a lot of sense too is the fact that, with the two different approaches is the fact that, no one else can actually tell you how you should have done it.
Absolutely.
Because there's no blueprint.
No, right? There's not, man.
We make so many, bro, I've made so many mistakes.
I think we all do because we're learning as well.
Yeah,
we're learning as well,
and we forget that.
Yeah,
and like and with the way you've seen how you are, and how we acknowledge that we don't like being told how we should parent.
Yeah,
like do you find that sometimes, like when you look at the situation and you see someone else coming in and going, oh hey, I reckon you should do you like have like an automatic backhand in your Jedi mind?
I guess the luck we're unfortunate also is that I haven't had anyone come in and say that, and I guess that's probably a testament to how my kids are, because they're good kids. Where that would only come from is from my wife, and I think with Zoe is that she'll say something, bro, and then sometimes it probably won't click at the time, but then afterwards, then I'll go back to Zoe and I'll say, man, thank you for saying that. Like, it made me have a different perspective on that and looking at it differently. Because I got a bit sidetracked, but where I was going, that story with my youngest was when she was about like 2 years old. Like it's funny, but it's not. It's only because like if there was a door that slammed or anything, straight away, sorry dad, like she's done something wrong. And that's where it's those types of moments at that time was like, oh man, my poor kid thinks she's doing something wrong when the door's shut and she had nothing. The wind blew the door shut.
It's like fight.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where it's those types of moments. Like I was laughing at the start, but then you start actually thinking, oh, actually no, because your kid's scared of you because the door slammed and she thinks it's herself. So that's where I was just coming. That's where I was going with that. Is just learning how to change your approach and how you parent. And man, it's tough. It is tough. Being a parent is tough. And I think as well, what's tough about being a parent is people only talk about the good things.
Yeah.
People never talk about, bro, seeing who I feel sorry for is for our wives or your partners.
Yeah. Seeing
them go through what they go through, and then everyone says, oh, once you have a kid, it's the best thing ever, and there's just this love and bro, for a lot of people out there, they don't have that instant connection or that love. You love them, obviously, but man, it's like, best analogy, I think it's like a job. You got to learn to love it as well. Like, there's that connection because it's your blood. But I think over time, as a parent as well, man, how hard is it? Not that I ever condone it, bro, but you can understand someone that's suffering from mental health or lack of sleep, has no network around them, and they're with a kid that just cries constantly, how unfortunately some kids are shaken, all that type of stuff. Because man, there's definitely been times where you've just had to put the kid down and walk away, because it's tough, man. It's tough, and I feel I must say I had an amazing wife, because even with my wife, she was able to have 12 months off with each kid, and then before she went back to work, and the way she looked at it is it was always better to have one tired parent than two. So it pretty much means that she did everything and allowed me to sleep, and so I was very fortunate, bro. Awesome. And if anything, that's through those years, especially Tilly's years and Isla's years when they were young kids, that's when I was working like hours. Like I was working, standard 12, 14-hour days. And the crazy thing is, man, it was harder being a stay-home. Like it would have been harder being a stay-home parent. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's, a lot of people don't talk about that. And the thing with kids too is it's like, I guess, it's tough, and then you get them into a routine. But then it's the worry never goes away, eh? I'm sure you both understand that.
Oh, it never does.
There's always a worry for your kids. It's as much as you love them, sometimes just, man, that worry can be a burden to carry as well, of worrying about how they navigate through life and what they're going to do. But
no, absolutely. Look, when you mentioned like how people were like, how they say like when you're gonna have kids and it's gonna be so wonderful. And whatnot. I smiled a bit because I remember we had a conversation when you had said, they say it's the best thing in the world, and I remember you're like, that's just rubbish, man. That's just rubbish. And I loved it because what you were saying to me at the time, was truth. Right, it was like, it's rubbish.
Yeah,
don't go to people and pretend that
it's amazing.
It's all amazing because you know what? It sets them up.
It sets them up, man. Hey, and for people out there that do feel that, man, they're blessed.
It's a blessing.
It's a blessing.
Absolute blessing. But
it's tough, bro.
It can be tough, and it can make or break.
It can, man.
You know,
the stress on the relationships.
Yeah, and it's like
tough. It's quite funny though. Like you mentioned that, like, and it puts in us like this anxiety to perform for who?
Yeah.
Like, you know, why are we performing for who? Like, I love the honesty about, it's not not easy,
exactly.
man.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. Stop being a...
Yeah.
And I remember when you said it, I really like thought about it and how many people that I've known who have been set up.
Yeah, bro.
You know, set up purely because, you know, people when they go,
set up?
Sounds like this fella.
Now, look, I am very fortunate and very blessed that my kids were able to be raised in a village.
Yeah.
You know, so
definitely.
So that for me blows me away.
Yeah.
And that, you know, and I'm like, whew. And like, and as you're like giving credit, you know, to your wives, you know, my wife was an absolute rock.
Yeah.
You know, but when I say, you know, people that get set up, you know, a lot of them, like, you know, you have cousins that, you know, have struggled.
Yeah, big time.
You know, because people, you know, a lot of people, you know, tend to say, oh, it's such a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
You know, and then no one actually goes, yeah, but 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And when you get up to go to work, you're going to be pissed off.
Yeah. And it's constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's torture, man.
Yeah, it's full on, bro.
And that sort of thing. And like they forget, like, you know, the mothers that are staying home.
Yeah.
Man, you were saying it in its true way. It's like, you know, we can't even relate.
Can't relate, man.
You know, to how heavy it is.
It's full on. And I think, bro, don't get me wrong. There's some parents out there and some dads that just absolutely love it.
Wonderful dads out there.
And don't get me wrong. But for me, for my own personal experience, it wasn't until my kids probably hit 2 that I started actually feeling that bond with my kids of that, you know, that, man, I'll do anything for you. Like that real strong bond of, always love them, man. Like like from the day they're born, you love them. But the actual bond where you go, where you bond with your kid and you go, man, like, Mum always used to say, you know, it's impossible for the kids to love the parents the same way the parents love the kid.
Yeah.
And man, when you have kids, man, then you can. And it's funny because like my kids always at night they'll give us a kiss goodnight and they'll say, you know, I love you, and you know, they love you, and they love you more. It's like, psh, you don't, you don't.
Let's not start.
Yeah. You don't love me more. You don't love me more. And it's true, man. It's just that bond that you have for your kids, and that's what I was talking about. You know, challenges and my mum passing. Is the only thing that could, I guess, surpass that would be to lose like a child. I think that's the worst parent's nightmare. I think you know. So even when my kids talk about it, it's always like, nah, don't talk like that. Like you don't need to talk about that stuff. You're gonna live a long time, and that's where it's man, I love being a parent. It's the best thing. It's the best thing. It's definitely made me a better everything. I think better at what I do at work, better husband, better man. It's definitely.
I was going to ask, like, you know, you love being a parent. I was, you know, and then you touched on it was like, how did that then translate to work?
Yeah,
and being able to, you know, as a parent, before a parent, we relate to our colleagues in a different manner. But then when we're a parent, we see our colleagues in a different light without
see them in a different light, also.
without even realizing it, right? And then having to...
Do you feel the weight of the father figure as well?
Yeah,
like, you know, like... I know being in a similar position, especially having daughters, like 5 daughters. Like, I remember sitting with, you know, like workers and just doing reviews and stuff, and you would look at them like, oh, man, it's like a daughter of mine that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Or a son, or...
I think so. I think where it probably changed for me a lot was more making me understandable of people's situations. And I think seeing my, you know, Tilly, when she started at daycare, so she started daycare when she was about 14 months. honestly, man, it felt like every week she was sick. Like every week she had something. And now I guess where I was a bit ruthless before at work, where people were having time off work and stuff, it's kind of frowned upon.
Yeah.
And then, especially you understand a bit more when they've got kids, and then, just the pressures, the pressures that puts on people, having to juggle kids, that in itself's really difficult.
Yeah.
We were fortunate enough. We had an au pair for 4 years to help us out, and just to have that extra set of hands there to help us, was a massive help. Man, being a parent's tough, and then trying to work.
Yeah.
And the other thing it probably taught me too, man, from like managing people point of view was, and I don't want this to come across in a bad way, but I guess because I've always respected females and mothers, especially mothers, but the respect that I have for mothers that try to return to work, it's tough, man. It's tough. Like I think, especially if they don't have a network around them, that is tough. When we went to WA, so we went based myself in Perth for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
In 2017. So I went over there, man, and we had no one. And that was that's when we got an au pair. We got an au pair then. But that was really tough because you had no one. Zoe was home with a 1-year-old, my Isla, who was one at the time, and she just, one of those kids that just needed to be held the whole time. And it was tough for her too, for Zoe, because I was traveling every week. Like I was gone pretty much Monday, Tuesday, come back Wednesday night or come back Thursday. Wow. And then I come back to a household, to my wife that's exhausted, and then my wife's wanting obviously some interaction because, you're in a new environment, and I was probably a bit distant as well because I'm worrying about work and doing other stuff. So that in itself was, when I look back, that was full on for my wife, and it's just really what was good about it though is probably brought us closer together as a family. But for people that don't have that network, man, and we had an au pair, and the au pair lived with us, but a lot of people don't have au pairs, and they juggle their kids. Man, it's tough. And it's tough. You just got to look around now, the way the inflation is, and people, I just feel, who I feel sorry for, bro, is for the people back home, like in Auckland. Man, the cost of living there, the rent.
It's not even,
bro.
I can't even imagine.
It's disgusting.
Going back there, and being able to live, to survive. You'd be living, in the workplace, in order to really survive. But that's because. But
still, even that, like even the money that they're earning it's ridiculous, and I think especially for I was funnily enough, I was just having a look at some of this data the other day because I was something that I've got a bit of a business plan that I want to bring into my current company where I am, and just looking at the cost. And so I was just looking at 4-bedroom house, South Auckland, the cost, and from what I was picking up, it's anywhere from like 850 plus. Crazy. So I found a brick house in Manukau City, and just brick house, probably early 90s build for renting, and it was like 850. I'm going, wow. And then you're looking at the wages of what people are earning there. So wow, it's tough, man. It is tough. We're over here. Actually, I wasn't looking here. I was looking in WA, a place in WA where I was looking, and rent there was about $550. And then the cost of living is a lot cheaper. But also then the wages that you can earn here. I was just looking at like trades. I was just having a look at like boiler makers, fitters, and the difference in pay that you get back home compared to here. And you're talking about $10 to $15 an hour difference, which is
wow,
massive.
That's massive.
So you're talking about that's probably about 20 grand a year, 25 grand a year difference. And then the cost of living's cheaper. Then the rental's cheaper. So that's my next part, is to try and have a look at if there's definitely an appetite, I think, back in New Zealand to do a business venture like this, and then to bring people over to work over here, and to find them work in these types of towns where there's skills shortage, but also then they can come over and have a better life. And it's hard, man, because I think especially for a lot of Pacific Islander and Māori people as well, it's they don't want to leave the family.
Yeah.
You know, so I think for you, how you're saying you had a tribe around you when your kids were being raised, man, if my, been very fortunate enough with my kids that my wife's family is around, specifically her mum. She helps out a lot. But, man, if my mum was here as well, man, those kids would have the best time, you know?
Yeah.
And it really is that tribe that helps bring them up together. But,
absolutely, yeah. It definitely helps, eh?
It helps. Absolutely, man.
Definitely helps.
Yeah, it helps.
And kudos to the fams and friends, back in NZ.
Right, big time.
Who are still, fighting the big fight because that, we go, oh, we got the grind here. It's a real grind.
It's a real grind there,
It's a real grind considering what they have to deal with outside of what they need to make.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think the difference here as well is that, you don't have to be skilled. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to go on to university. You can still earn a good living here. Doing anything, whether it's packing shelves, whether it's driving a forklift or whatever. Yeah. And that there's anything wrong with those roles. I'm just saying, back home, man, it's terrible what they pay people.
Yeah.
So over here,
it's criminal, right?
It's bad, man.
Man, it's like when you look at the discrepancy between, the pay discrepancy, it's massive.
It is massive.
It's massive.
Yeah, I remember because when I first started, 2008, I started as a recruiter. Man, we were on this, the Gateway Bridge. Yeah, the Gateway Bridge. So we had people working on there as labourers back in 2008, and they were earning like $32.60 an hour back then. Back in 2008.
Oh, wow.
So with the hours that they were doing, they were taking home, like working Monday, half day Saturday. I think they were taking home about $1,500 a week in their hand.
Yeah. That's cool.
Bro, back in 2008. So I remember then talking to people back home, like to some of the Usos and the family and stuff, and telling them about what they were earning. Bro, they always thought, nah, whatever.
Yeah.
You're lying. I was like, bro, that's what they're earning. Yeah, but that's probably got to take tax out. Bro, that's after tax.
Wow.
So that's why I was insane, man. When you came here and saw that what people were earning, it blew me away, because I even had some family that were just working at like for the like Ingham's Chicken, just at the Coles Centre, Coles Centre, and they were working at the Coles Centre just packing pallets and stuff. And they had targets and KPIs, but if they worked a busy week, they could clear $1,000 a week. And I was thinking, honestly, who you can earn $1,000 a week, bro? That's insane money. And when I first came here too, it was like everyone was saying, well, not everyone. Where I first came here, I stayed in a place called Crestmead.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
You were the first person I recognised.
Oh, really?
We were in that car park. Remember? I was in Logan Central.
Yeah.
This would have been it was 2000 it would have been 2007. Yeah.
2007 was.
Wow. Right.
Yeah.
I was relieved to see you, man.
Yeah.
And I can't repeat the comment that you made to me because we were fresh.
Yeah.
We were just fresh off the plane.
Yeah.
But, oh, man. I remember we gave each other a hug like we were lost.
Yeah, man.
But it was awesome.
That was,
Crestmead, eh?
Crestmead. Wow. And that was like, at the time, that was a newly built area. Bro, I thought that place was amazing. Well, man, this brand new house. Like, I was staying with my auntie and my uncle when I first came here. And, man, it was a brand new house. And I was like, man, this place is awesome. And then you start talking to other people. And then they obviously think Woodridge. I was getting my hair cut there. And then, you start talking to other people. And then it's funny. And then I guess once I started, talking to other people, once I started getting into work and stuff, and they're like, oh, where you live? And they're like, oh, like referring to it as like a bad area, or, Marsden, Woodridge, all that type of stuff. I'm like, bro, this place is beautiful. Yeah. Bro, this place is awesome. And I think because it was, one, it felt familiar, because it's probably our demographic of people where I grew up, but it was newer. So it had it was a newer development. Bro, so yeah, coming here was, and talking about your journey, bro, coming here was the best thing I could have done ever in my life. Just the migration to Australia, because it's bro, this is like, don't get me wrong, home's home, absolutely, but to actually have a lifestyle and be in a place that allows you to to succeed, bro, it's here. And I'm sure it's back in New Zealand to an extent, but I guess where it's probably different is, like I was saying before, it doesn't matter what you do here, you can still provide for your family. We're back home, man. It'd be very hard to provide for your family, you know, in a warehouse or doing that type of stuff. Some people do it, but all I'm probably saying here is that you can do it, plus the cost of living is cheaper, plus the money's more. So it's just, it's a better opportunity here, right?
It is.
My parents are working 3 jobs each.
Oh, hard.
Growing up, you know, cleaning job in the morning, cleaning job in the middle of the day, and then cleaning job at night.
So that's just what they did, eh?
Yeah.
I think that's just what they did. Yeah, and it's it's pretty amazing when you think about like even, you know, looking at my grandparents and coming over here and just kind of the legacy they've been able to leave behind after they're both gone and stuff. It's pretty amazing. Actually, that's where my daughter, her name Tilly, was after my great auntie Tilly. So she was the first, because my nana was one of 17. So she was one of 17. Yeah, big family, bro.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I know your 9's big, but nana was one of 17.
That's
bro.
beautiful, man. That's massive.
So and it would have been probably early 50s. And my auntie Tilly, she was the first one to come to New Zealand. So she went over to New Zealand first, and then she worked, got enough money then to bring over my nana, it's Martha. And then they worked together, and they brought over my 2 uncles. I think it might have been my uncle Rudy. I know it was my uncle George, and I think it was my uncle Emil. And then they came over, and they just did that until all 17. And then my great grandmother came across too. Wow. So I think for me too, that was kind of where my daughter got her name from, Tilly. And it was funny because I remember telling my nana, I was going, oh, you know, oh, Seb, do you know what you're going to call your daughters? I was like, yeah, Nana, I'm going to call her Tilly after Annie Tilly. And she's, oh, and then quiet for a little bit. And she goes, I wish my name was Tilly. So yeah, bro, Tilly Martha. Tilly Martha, yeah.
I love it. So that's how you met that challenge.
Yeah, that's how I met that challenge, Jules. Yeah, I wish my name was Tilly. Yeah.
Oh, I want to use that. I want to use that. You know, I want to use that, and you know, I am going to extort like so many things from my kids. You know, when they have kids, they're like, man, I wish my name was
Tilly Martha. So it's a strong name, man, because it's
absolutely
it's the start of their journey to New Zealand, and then what they did in New Zealand was pretty amazing. I think that's that period when a lot of the people from the Pacifics migrated to New Zealand, and come over and work, and like you were saying, they just worked. And the other thing too, bro, it's not only them; it's also like even from my wife's side, of the Lebanese side, they were the same. Like when they came over from Lebanon and worked. Man, that generation just got on with it, eh?
Yeah.
They just really got on. No complaints, bro. And you head down, did it, and you think about what they came into. Like, you know, even like, you know, my nana, she came over, had very broken English. She didn't go to school because where she was in the family, she pretty much stayed to help with the kids. Yeah. You know, so and even like my wife's grandfather, like he came over from Lebanon, pretty much bugger all money, and came over here, didn't speak English, and then came over here to work. And just that, how daunting would that be, man? You just look at that generation, go, bro, they were tough.
Yeah.
You know, no complaints, they just did it, and they found a way. Or I think
we're not as resilient anymore, eh?
Nah.
Honestly, we're
not as resilient.
We're cotton wrapped.
Nah, we absolutely
go our way.
Yeah, and I think that starts how we've been talking. I think that starts at school. Like obviously it's a society thing, but I think that starts at school as well. There is no resilience. I think we're quite an entitled bunch of people. Like I think, you know, we have these sense of entitlements, and you know, I think a lot of people do the bare minimum, but then expect great results.
Yeah.
And that's what blows me away. And even in this job, like I was telling you about at the start, around that job that I went to, and they paid you $45,000 a year, but then you made commission. Like to me, that at the time, man, was like, whoa. And then I remember talking to recruiters that we were bringing into the business. By that time, I moved to like a business center manager, which is like a branch manager, and then bringing them in and go, oh man, you can, you know, if you work hard, you can make, you know, 100, 120 to 150 grand a year. And this is back in like 2010 and stuff, and people were going, oh, okay. Like it wasn't a lot. And that's what was blowing me away. It's like, man, that's life-changing money. Like, what's wrong with you, bro?
Yeah.
You know, that type of money back then would have been like probably top 5% earners in the country. And, you know, and then now, but then in saying that, I think, you know, I started probably as a manager, started thinking differently. Not everyone's driven by money. So it's not always a motivator for people.
Yeah.
But I think, just when you're bringing people into the business and you're talking to them about money, a lot of people didn't like, man, if someone, well, I did, someone sat me down and when I looked at the screen and saw what people were earning, they were earning, say, another extra 50 grand a year plus your 45. So there's 95 grand a year. To me, I'm going, whoa, that is amazing. Man, to earn 100 grand a year.
Oh, absolutely.
That is insane.
Absolutely. That is.
Like coming from New Zealand, bro, I didn't know anyone that was earning 100 grand a year. So for me, that was like, whoa. And then, it's just, just the people that you're bringing in and just talking about that. I'm struggling with it, man. I think especially in my, in management at the moment is finding what motivates people. And I think there's two ways you can go. You can either, go against it and be those old dinosaurs that go, oh, you know, but in my day, this is what I did. Or you've got just to find a way to connect with them. Because people want different things now. People just don't want the, it's money. People are big about, work-life balance.
Yeah.
They're big about, fulfillment. You know, what you're doing is ethical. You know, a lot of these people now have this real, it's tough because I think in my industry, which is mining, and mining is a really probably dirty word at the moment, especially coal, because it's, the impact of the environment. They're talking about, how we have targets here now around the emissions and all that stuff. And the youth coming through now, they're really seeing a real decline in like engineers and stuff in mining because I think there's a couple of reasons behind that. I think one being is that they have a lot of options now. You know, they have a lot of options. I said, and two, what I was thinking about was about that being, especially around coal, it's not looked as really a luxurious job. It's more looked as you're impacting the environment. So I think there's that. So it's tough to understand what makes people tick these days because they're different, man. They're totally different. And how we're talking about, society and being entitled or whatever whatever you want to call it. It's the other thing I've found too is that they have real short attention spans. So, it's someone will come in and go, I want to learn to do this. Okay. And then they think they're ready to do, okay, I want to do something else now. It's like, but you've just been shown how to do this, man. You've got to learn this first. Oh, I already understand it. I want to learn something else now. But then I think some people do pick up things quicker. I think even probably more our parents' generation, but even to me to an extent as well, you kind of looked at, if you stayed at one job for a long time, then you're a good employee.
Yeah.
When now people jump around, and that used to be looked at as kind of a bad thing, when now it's kind of, it's not. So
I'm trying to get my head around that because I believe I personally feel like, if you're at a certain place for a certain amount of time, that's a good thing.
Well, I think, I think it can definitely still have its pros and its cons. I think where it can become a negative is when you're somewhere too long and then you become institutionalized in the sense that no different. You just know, their way. And then, the old saying, can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's kind of that because you've already been in an organization where you're pretty much, only understand their culture or their methodology. And so that's where it becomes kind of a hindrance sometimes if you were to leave a job and to go somewhere else. But then again, it depends on the person that's, I guess, recruiting them or employing them. You've got to look at all aspects. Like there's so much. Like when you say recruitment, you just think, you just find a job. You get a job, you find someone, you put them into their job. But there's a lot to it to understand. And a lot of what we're talking about right now comes behind that. Like what motivates people? Like what's a motivator for this person to want this job? Why do they really want the job? And that's hard to do in just an initial conversation with someone, or spending an hour with them in an interview, because something that I'm really good at too is I'm good at, like I was saying, mirror and matching. So I know what answers if I'm talking to someone, I will know what to tell you to influence you to like me.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate, I think, in the sense that I've pretty much only, from looking at jobs, I think I've only ever missed one job. And that was for My FM. Yeah, back in the day with My FM, and it came down to me and this other girl, and I didn't get the job. But every other job, especially in New Zealand, I didn't have an issue getting them. It was keeping them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid. Talking about young and dumb, but stupid. But
young.
Young.
But young.
Yeah.
So, young, and
I don't want
we
to
can't.
I want to ask. I'll just ask it this way: was it performance issues, or was it?
Nah. I'm happy to talk about it. I'm happy to talk about it. So I think my first job out of school was the BNZ Bank.
Yeah.
So I worked at the BNZ Bank at the airport. So what I was doing there was
upstairs.
It was upstairs. So I was foreign exchange. So there was upstairs. But where a lot of my time was at arrivals. So when people come in, they give you your money. So they had one upstairs, one at arrivals, and then one at the main check-in area where everyone checks in. They had one down there as well. So my job, I was a teller. So I was there, and people used to bring their money or pay their what was it, their duty tax or whatever they used to pay when you had to fly somewhere. Do all that, boy. Yeah. So I did that for my first job, and the reason I got let go from there was I'll call it performance. I wasn't shaving, so the boss used to come in and I understand it. It was in their policy, and it's I guess you're the front of the company, the face of the company. So I just used to not shave, and so a lot of the time too is because you started early, you started 3:30 in the morning for the first plane coming in and stuff. But again, bro, I was hopeless. I didn't take it serious. I was pretty hopeless. So they ended up parting ways with me there. Then I went and worked for a call center at remember extra.co.nz? Yeah, the internet company. And I got fired from there for sending around inappropriate material. So, you can guess what that was.
Let's go on, Warriors.
Go the Waz, up the Waz. So sending around inappropriate material via email. So me and this other fella Carlos, we got let go from there. Then I went to ASB Bank at Dominion Road. Remember the Dominion Road? I was at a call center there. But that was a funny story. There was good and bad, but I worked at a call center. So what used to happen was they used to have it used to come through on the phone call of what the phone call was about. So you used to go True Rewards, and hello, and then you talk to them about True Rewards, or used to come deposits or whatever it would be. So that was my job. That's what I did. But tell you what happened there was me and these two other girls got this meeting called, and we're like, "What, man? What's this meeting about? So anyway, we didn't know what the meeting was about, and they staggered the meeting straight after each other. But what I noticed was when the first girl went in, she came out, she packed her bag, and then she waved goodbye. So I was like, Joey, what's going on here, mate?
When reading the room sucks.
Bro, straight away,
Not a good sign.
So Sharp or Sharp. Shout out to Sharp if you hear him. And then after that, then Caroline, she went in, and then the same thing. She came out, grabbed her bag, and waved goodbye. And I was like, "Oh, bro, what's going on?"
Caroline.
So,
what's up, Caroline?
And then so anyway, then I went in, and they sat down, and they were like, this guy, he was the general manager of the call center called Logan. Logan said to me, so anyway, what we've been doing, Zeb, is we've been monitoring your calls. I can't remember if it was like a week or if it was a day or what, but he was monitoring our calls, and he said, and what we've noticed is there's been a bit of a trend where you've been hanging up on people. And I was like, oh, okay. So he said, can you give us a bit of a reason why you think you might be hanging up on people? And I was like, maybe I go to transfer them to somewhere else, and I've mistakenly, when I've gone to transfer them, I hung up on them or something. And he was like, oh, okay. So he goes, so how many people you might have accidentally, so you're saying you just accidentally hung up on people? And I was like, yeah. He goes, how many people do you think you accidentally hung up on then? I forgot the time frame. But I said something like 10 or something. And he goes, so It's been 136.
Man.
And I was like, oh. So anyway, this fella Logan, man, I don't know why or what, but then he pretty much ended up, he didn't fire me. Yeah, he didn't fire me. He said, pretty much I got a first and final, but he said to me, man, there's something, I see talent in you. And he said, I want to, I wanted to bring me into the investment side of the banking.
Wow.
For ASB Bank. Now, I don't know what he saw in me, but he did. He saw something in me. So I was like, okay, cool, thank you. Did the all thank you, that stuff. So I think that was at the start of the week. And then, because he used to work weekends as well. And then I was working on the weekend. And I remember getting a phone call from, so you guys remember that place, Cafe? That used to be run by Matthew Ridge.
Matthew Ridge.
Yeah. So I had a phone call. Yeah, I had a phone call from one of the business, and I saw, like, obviously when they're calling in asking about their accounts, and I was giving them information on their accounts. And I guess, curiosity killed the cat. So then, for some reason, I don't know why, but then after that, I just started looking up famous people. I don't want to say their names in case, but yeah, I started looking up people. But the problem is when you look up like a famous person or whatever, celebrity or whatever, and I will say this: he was with Up the Waz. They come up as a key account. So when they come up as a key account, your manager is notified that you've looked at the account.
Yeah.
So it's only that happened, and then I remember on the Monday I got like an invite. Like an email invite from this fellow Logan to have a meeting with him. I knew what it was about. And so pretty much I remember walking to the office and he pretty much just said, mate, please put in your resignation because I can't be effed doing the paperwork to fire you pretty much.
Yeah.
So so that was that job. Bro. So I got fired from there. Then after that, I went and worked for a company called Prestige Diesel Marine, and that's where I was doing my apprenticeship. And just dumb, mate, man. And I remember they had a work ute, and I used to have to go and pick up the go down, pick up these parts, go and do the smoker run, do all the stuff that an apprentice does. And I remember driving the ute, and I remember going towards the motorway, heading towards what's that area? Like Papakura, I think. And I remember it was wet, bro, and I remember going around, and I felt the back slip like that, and then I just thought, oh, this is fun. Started straight away, boom, into the side. Slowly. So that happened, and then obviously they weren't happy, and then they got a brand new work utils. I remember I was driving on towards K Road somewhere.
You mean there's more?
There's more. I didn't get fired for that. What I got fired for was then I was driving. I was up to this area, and I remember getting a phone call, and they asked me where I was, and I went to look up at the road sign. I was like, I'm up at boom. And I went into the back of this little MG. Silly. So anyway, this is how stupid it was, bro. So that was in the city. Then I ended up driving back to where was the office area? Towards Mount Wellington, and I went to the Smoko bar there. And then just because I was just the whole way I'm driving, I thinking, man, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna say, because I was just thinking, man, I'm gonna lose my job. So this is the other thing I forgot. When I first started, I forgot this part. I'll go back to that. But the first time I started, there was this fella that worked there. They call him Granddad. But the angriest fella, right? Just one of those guys, at a job, been there too long. Yeah. Bro, and just angry. And I remember I had to go to do the smoker run. The ute wasn't there. So I was like, I'll just take my car. And bro, when I was reversing my car, into Granddad's car. Into Granddad's car.
Lucky I thought you were into
Into Granddad's car. I was thinking into Granddad.
Nah. So, bro.
That'll shut him up.
That happened, bro. And then, man, I remember my dad, Dad paid for it. Far out. Anyway. But yeah, going back to that story. So we've got a brand new ute, bro. Brand new, like Toyota Hilux or something. And that's when I crashed into the back of this MG. Thinking, man, what do I do? So I went to the smoker shop, and then I called the workshop. I said, oh, guys, I just come out of the smoko shop and there's radiator fluid on the ground. And they're like, what? And so they sent up this fellow and he come up. He's going, so what happened? I said, bro, I just come out of here and then I come out and saw this and there's radiator fluid. Like you could see that it's clearly impacted or something. So still anyway, they got a tow truck, took it back to the workshop. And then till the next day I walk in and I saw a police car there. And I was, hey. Then I walk in and then I saw the boss. Zeb, come over here, mate. And, and walking over, and when I'm looking at the police fellow, I'm going, man, I know this fellow from somewhere. Where's this fellow from? So anyway, you walk over and he goes, hey, Zeb, introduce himself, such and such. I say, hey, he goes, so can you just explain to me what happened with the vehicle, please? I was like, oh. So I went into the smoker around, went to the post shop. He goes, yeah. Went and picked up some parts from Penrose, and he goes, yeah. And then I went to the smoker shop, and when I come out of the smoker shop, I noticed it's like this. He's like, oh, okay. So he's like, you know, when you went to these places, did you leave the car on or off? I said, turned it off. He goes, you sure? I go, yeah, of course, man. I turned it off every time I went in. He goes, okay. He's just leaning over here and goes, yeah. He goes, see these marks on the radiator? I go, yeah. He goes, that's caused from the fan. So what's happened is the fan's going and the radiator's been pushed into it. And that's what's caused the marks on the radiator. I was like, oh, maybe I left it in when I go to the post office. Silly, the fella goes, see this dent on the chassis? Yes. That impact you would have had to be going 50 to 60 Ks an hour. I was like, bro, someone reversed into me really fast. Silly, you know who it was? It was the cop from, there was a TV show called Crime Scene Investigation or something. Yeah. And he was that guy. So he was friends with the owner.
Like a forensics guy.
Yeah, forensics guy of like car crashes and stuff. Wow. So pretty much, bro, you know the outcome to that. And so I pretty much, yeah.
I love how he asked you the questions.
Yeah, he asked me, bro, he was setting me up.
It was setting me up. Like, that was grandstanding, I think. Yeah. Like he was ready to be on TV.
Looking for the cameras.
Yeah. That guy had like a camera like in his brain. There was a camera right there on both of you.
Man,
holy!
So. And then they asked me, you know, do you want to change your story? Nah, that's what happened. Just dumb, bro, dumb. And then
really good memory, eh?
Yeah,
like for all of these jobs, like the detail and
bro, hard out, stupid, bro, just stupid, eh? Man. And then after that, I think that was the last job I got fired from. I got a written warning from my first job here in Australia, and yeah, same thing, just being stupid. The funny thing with that was it was my wife that had to. She wasn't my partner at the time, but she's the one that had that meeting with me, performance managed me.
So is this how you met?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. So to this day, she's still performance managing you.
Performance managing me. Wow. Really hard. So yeah, but that's how we met, bro. She was a recruiter, and she got me my first job here. And then
that's amazing.
Yeah. That's how she got me. That's how we first met, man. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, and then after that, also that's when I started. I worked for a company called Workpack. And I started with them as 2008 as a recruiter. And it just went from there, bro. Yeah.
How did you, man, this is probably, I want to talk about your wife. Like,
yeah, bro.
You know, What made you, what really sealed the deal? Like, you know, what made you think, man, this is the one I'm going to marry? Or what sort of attributes, values do you find that she's contrary to who you are and she complements?
100%, bro.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, it's like how we were talking about, you know, I think, you know, behind a good man's a better woman.
Yeah.
And I think for me, my wife was allowed me to be my authentic self. I think a lot of the time growing up, I was playing a character. You know, and I know how you're saying, you know, Zeb's that fella, he was always happy to speak up, always to, you know, say something. But a lot of the reason I was doing that too, when I reflect, bro, is because I like the attention. And it was all a bit of an act. It was always playing a bit of a character, I think, where with my wife, I could just be me. And I think that's what kind of why we truly connected. The other thing too, and with my wife at the time as well, and there's nothing against anyone else that I'd been with previously or seen or anything, but she was she just gave me a different perspective on things. and even that being, business or, for me, a big thing that blew me away was like my wife owned her first house. I think she was 18 or 19 when she bought her first house.
Wow.
So that was even an eye opener for me. Going, man, you own a house at 18 or 19? That's crazy.
It is crazy. That's awesome.
So that was kind of like, wow. But I guess we had two different, like, her background and my background at the time, bro, were two opposites, absolutely. And I think that's what probably, I was saying before, I was just saying, if one of my daughters brought someone home, someone like me, I'd be like, what the hell? But I think that's just because I know the person I was before. And yeah, for my wife, full credit to, I guess, to see something in me as well. Mm-hmm. And I think, yeah, she made me feel with my wife, there was no bullshit. It was just funny story too. I remember we first started seeing each other, bro, and again, I remember, forgot what happened, man. It was something stupid. But I said anyway, something like on the phone, well, maybe this isn't going to work or something like that, So I remember coming home and then she packed my bags and I walked in and she said, here's your stuff, go. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? She said, well, if you're going to say something, make sure you stick to it. Like mean what you say. Yeah. Say what you mean type thing. And bro, that rocked me, eh? Yeah. Like straight away I was like, I'm sorry. But like it was she was totally different from any partner or female that had been whether it's friend or anything. Like she was just totally different and gave me a different perspective on things. And I know, and I even spoke about this at our wedding. When I spoke at my wedding, it's like, yeah, she's definitely made me. I'm a better person with my wife. She's made me the man that I am today to a great extent. Like, don't get me wrong, like my parents definitely molded me, but I think for me to get me to that, to really recognize my potential, without sounding wanky. But I think, without really understanding my potential. Because even, what's funny is even that guy, Logan, at the bank here, he saw potential in me. Tell him, man, I had no one believe in me apart from my parents or anything like that. And I actually reached out to him, man, it'd probably be about, I thought it might have been about 2015 or something. I found him on LinkedIn. Wow. Found him on LinkedIn and I reached out to him. And he's now like the general manager of Kiwi Bank or something, like or CEO or something, for what Logan does for him. But I just reached out to him and I just said to him, man, I said, you probably won't know me, but told the story. This is what happened. Yeah. But I just wanted to say thank you for believing in me, because I said not many people in my life, especially at that time, believed in me. Yeah. And when I reflect on it now, excuse me, how stupid I was, and that I should have, I wish I had the, I wish I didn't stuff that up and actually applied myself. And he came back, man, and it was really nice. He said, as soon as I saw your name, I knew who you were. Yeah. And pretty much said, it looks like you're doing well for yourself now. So, all the best. Have a great Christmas. I think it was around Christmas when he did it. And he says, I wish you a successful new year. So seeing that, I think with my wife, what did it for me was, she made me a better person, was able to see the true potential in myself. And I think she opened my eyes to a lot of other things as well that I, didn't know were possible. And then when I saw her interact with her family, and more specifically her mum, and the relationship that she had with her mum, I think that's when I love, that love started coming, and just because family's always a big thing, for me, and to see someone that was close with her family and like I said, with her mum, thought, that's special to have that bond and someone with similar values.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that's where it kind of came from, bro. And I think I was also at the right age, because when we met, I think I would have been about 26. So I was at the right age as well. I was single for a while. I was single for probably good 3 or 4 years, I reckon. And then met her, and then what I noticed was when I was with her, just good things happen. And like even when you look at where I am today, man, a lot of that is because of her. Yeah. Whether it's drive, whether it's helping me get you there. I know there's a lot of podcasts at the moment, and they talk around, females and their role and all this type of stuff. The man, he's the head, and he needs to be, if he's a top G or whatever you want to refer to, all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
But for me, it's we complement each other.
Yeah.
I think definitely she has her things where I help her, but there's a lot of things where she helps me as well. Man, and she's long suffering, because I know I ain't easy to be with.
Man,
stubborn, pig-headed. Well, we don't talk about that stuff, but she knows how to connect with. She knows how to, I guess, get through to me, and she knows the right time to do it.
Awesome.
So it's
it's very much a mutual thing.
Yeah. And so, to be fair too, a lot of the whatever you classify as successful, but people in jobs that are very influential, or working for big corporations, especially a friend and mentor of mine, his is exactly the same thing, man. His wife plays a strong role in his career and their relationship, I think. And same thing, like he's my friend, he's had some big roles working for multi-billion-dollar companies, but I think as well it keeps him grounded and allows him to be the man that he is, and in his professional world as his wife, And I think too as well, without having my wife, man, going through that journey with Workpack, when I started, I don't think I'd definitely be where I am now. If it wasn't her, and just making smart decisions in life, instead of actions have consequences, all that type of stuff. But even small things also, and I think as a lot of us even growing up, was just around saving. Understanding how how interest works, or understanding how whether that's a credit card or a loan, or all that type of stuff. You never didn't know about that, bro.
I wish I was
know
taught
about
that.
Or house, nothing, bro. Nothing. And I think that's too, and I think it happened where there was a lot of those like GE Finance and all those companies back home where they were targeting people, especially a lot of the Pacific community.
I
was targeting them, bro.
I was one of them that fell for it.
Because they just go, sign here. I'll give you the money. And they don't talk about, that you may be paying 25-30% later.
You're right.
And then explain what that 25 or 30% means to you when your repayments. And so that's where it's, it's a lot of those life skills I've been able to initially learn from my wife, but then also, was exposed to in my work and understanding business and, a profit and loss, and being held accountable to a budget and delivering on your net profit or your EBITDA or whatever it may be. So I think that as well has given me a full understanding of not only business, but just money and how it works, and then how to make it work for you, what to do, not what to do, all those things, So when I say that about not being where I am now, like I think with my wife, it's always been around saving. You just easy money, easy come, easy go. Like I think when I grew up, man, I think for my dad, I think he earned good money, but we never had it because he just, as quick as it came in, he spent it. So it's just learning about knowing how to save. Even things that you don't really think about now, like talking about hitting our 40s, was even like around your superannuation. Making sure that the fund is working for you that you're in. How much you got in superannuation? How much do you have to have saved to when you want to retire? How much do you need in your account? It's all that stuff that I guess probably wouldn't have really known if I didn't meet my wife.
Man, that sort of leads into my next question, because you're talking about EBITDA, and bro, honestly, there were times even in my working career where I found myself like, what's a guy like me doing a place like this? And when you talk about money, and I think there's an unhealthy way that we can approach money, but there's a healthy way to view it as well. Like, as a tool. Like, when did you become And I would imagine that you deal with a lot of big budgets.
Yeah.
I remember the first time someone talked about $1 million at a table when I was like $1 million, and no one even batted an eyelid, but I was like, $1 million. I was like, hard. And then they were talking about $30 million, and I was like, what? $30 million?
Yeah.
Man, I was just like, I just had to pinch myself. Go, man, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
When did you feel comfortable, and how do you see? I think this question is probably for more the young people out there.
Okay.
How do you approach money in a healthy way? Like, you know, you went from, like you were talking about initially arriving in the country, and going, man, that's a massive salary, like, and the inclination can be towards let's make that money and spend it. Yeah, you know, let's 100%. Live it up. You know, live it up. Yeah, and you're saying that your wife there sort of taught you the ins and outs and a bit of wisdom around how to approach money. Like, how do you see money now, and how did you get there? Like, in terms of, you know, you're around it, you have to budget, and
I think you just hit the nail on the head. Also, it's knowing how to budget, knowing where every dollar's spent, knowing. So some people may see it as a bit fanatical, but I have a spreadsheet for my money. Also, I know where every dollar's going. You know, and I pay myself and my wife an allowance. So, you know, everything, when my money comes in, because the first of all is understanding money, you know, and I think it's understanding, you know, it's I'll give an example. It's like people go, okay, what's your goal? I want to buy a house. Okay, cool. What's the plan? What's the blueprint to buying a house? How much do you have to, what's the deposit you have to get? Oh, I don't know. Okay, so how much do you want to save? I want to save 20,000. Is that enough to get a loan for a house? It's those questions that people don't ask. They just, you know, and to be fair as well, a lot of those people they don't know, and it's things around putting a budget or planning it to actually understand your money. So for me, also, I know, so I get paid today. That money goes into an account. And then that account then have about 6 or 7 different automatic payments that come out of that account. So I put money into account, my wife puts money into account, and then that money is dispersed into different areas. So that will go to areas of, you know, one account will be for your annual things like your rate or quarterly rates or your insurances or your service of your car. Then I have another account which is like my fortnight account, and that fortnight account will be things like for food. That's just because I just work it on a fortnight. We work by fortnight in the sense of, okay, so I'll put money in there for food, for gas, then and then any other expenses. So I'll list everything in my spreadsheet around my expenses, what's going out, so I know, you know, what to be in there, and then and what I'll also do as well, I'll add a buffer in each. So let's just say, you know, power's $100 that I'll put in there. I'll add like 120. So I've always got enough. Yeah. And then I'll have another account, bro, that is for family. So that account goes into an account. So if we want to do something as a family, there's money there for that. Yeah. Then there's account for our mortgage. So, and that just goes whatever the mortgage repayments. Then I have another account that is for extra mortgage repayments. So I have an account that I'm just consistently putting money in to pay more than the minimum. Yeah. Okay, so I've got that money going in there, and I've got an offset account. So from an interest point of view, you pay lower interest because it's on the total amount that's in your savings accounts. And then I've got my own personal account, and my wife has her own personal account, and we pay each other like an allowance that she gets every fortnight, and then I get every fortnight. And then silly, that money I can do whatever I want. If it's, you know, and that's why it's a good thing having it like that too, because if I want to go, I want to go and, you know, go out the night with the boys and have some drinks. Not that I do that much, but if that's what it was, I just use that money. And that money just, obviously, if I just save it, and then it might be, man, like, you know, the new JBL speaker. I'll go and buy that speaker, and it's, you know, and the biggest thing with that as well is with those funds that we put aside is you don't touch it. Yeah, you know, especially with the extra mortgage repayments, the extra money that I put into the account, I don't touch it by. And then you've got money in accounts that when you do need it, you can take from. You know, and I think, you know, it's always, you know, for me, that in itself, understanding the money, then prioritizing it and you know what's coming in, what's going out is the key to save. Like that's the key to save and to see, I guess, rewards in your financial journey of where you want to get to. And man, that's the thing. Like with the commissions I was earning at this company, it was great because we lived off our salaries, and then anything that was coming through, that was commission, that was extra, bro. That was just cream.
Yeah.
So you put that into areas, and don't get me wrong, man. Like we spend the money. We spend like we have times where we spend money, but we've saved for it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Is you know, we've got the money to do it, but we've got it's been allocated for.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have the money, we go without. And I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing for me, well, my wife's biggest thing was, you know, you have, and I'm not saying that the way she views things is the right way, but for me, it made sense. And it was that the only debt you have is your property. You don't own like everything else. You don't, like our cars we buy outright. You know, you only have a credit card if you're going to, you know, pay it off straight away. So for me, as soon as I use a credit card, I transfer the money into my credit card. And the only reason why I do that is because I use it for the points. So I've got a card that I don't pay any fees on, but then sort of like each year I'll probably generate $1,500 to $2,000 that I can use for Christmas.
Yeah.
But I haven't paid any interest because I pay it straight away.
Yeah.
So it's just little things like that. And the thing is as well, is it doesn't matter how much money you earn, as long as you can prioritize and know where your money's going. Hey, don't get me wrong, some people aren't as fortunate. Some people don't have enough just to cover their living needs, you know. Even insurances, bro, like even when I look at insurances, man, it is expensive to live. Like I think insurances alone, we pay a year is about it's about $13,000 a year in insurances.
Wow.
You know, when you just look at insurances.
Yeah.
So that's only for one car too. I'm just like, I've got a work car.
That's crazy.
So, you know, one car, house, health,
contents,
and you're spending that type of money. It's crazy, man. So I do understand not everyone's probably in a position, but I think where it comes down to is you need to understand your money.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is understand what's coming in, but then understand what's going out. You know, and so, because the problem is too, bro, is everyone makes it so easy to spend money. Like, so you just got your phone, bing, bing, you go, it's easy.
You don't actually think about it.
You don't, bro.
And then when you start to look at your statements, you're like,
you're like, what?
How did I end up with this and this? And I'm like, oh, snap.
So sometimes I'll just look and I'll go to transfer money over and I'm thinking I'm transferring 100 and then I'm going 500. Hey, when did I spend that for extra 400? And then you look back and then it's just all those other purchases that come to that. So it's really that's the biggest thing, bro. And I think that taught me, like, obviously I learned a bit from my wife, but then from work, that really taught me that because you're responsible for profit and loss, and you having a look at. So the thing in business and profit and loss, it's pretty much you have a look at what money's coming in and what's going out, and then you having a look, obviously, with your expenses. What you're trying to do is trying to get the best profit you can from any business. So it's you know, talking on revenue, bro. Like I've gone from managing I think the smallest amount was probably about a $20 million business to the biggest was probably about 300 million, you know, and there's a lot in that when you're managing a $300 million business and you've got to deliver on that is, man, a lot of it is going through each line item to understand not only what money's coming in, but what money's going out. You know, where can I save some money? What things can we do better around efficiencies to make that make us more profitable? You know, is there some business that we're doing that we shouldn't be doing because it's a big risk to our business? And it's even things like, trading terms. So especially in our game, there's a lot of people use us as like a bank because a lot of people, like businesses, won't pay a business for like 30 days end a month or 45 days end a month. So you could be in a business and my game, when you're paying people weekly, because you're paying people weekly, man, those funds are coming from your bank. That's coming from your, what you have. Your cash flow. Yeah. That's coming from your business. Yeah. So that's where a lot of businesses use us. And when you're, paying people, and we've had up to some businesses where you've got, $20 million a week out with, it's a big restriction on cash flow and stuff. Yeah. So it's really looking at, if you can understand also what's coming in and what's going out, that's the first step. At least that will identify a couple of things. It will identify one, okay, this is what I need to do to save, and even if you're saving $5 a week that you're not touching, bro, it's doing that type of stuff. And I think a lot of people go, it's only $5. I spend more on that on a coffee. Yeah, but in $5 over a year, you start seeing the benefits of it.
Yeah.
But it's not only doing that; it's the mindset that it does it as well, to actually put money aside and not touch it.
Yeah.
I think that's important as well. But it's
that's a proper life lesson right there.
Oh, bro, I think it is, and I think because we grow up and you're not around it. For me, money as well. And the old saying, the rich get rich, the poor get poor. It's true, man. 100%. And we're in it right now. Like if you look at the situation we're in right now, like you look around inflation and the interest rates and stuff. So what happens, bro, is you it's already starting to happen, but what you'll start seeing is, and I was reading an article the other day, they still think over the next 12 months interest rates are going to go up. Is people that have overcapitalized, is you're going to have to, because a lot of people lock in and they're on still their low interest rates, and, interest only. I was just having a look the other day for interest. I was looking at for $2 million of lending. It's you're paying about $12,000 to $13,000 a month in repayments if you borrow $2 million from the bank.
Wow.
Which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people over there that have overcapitalized that are not going to have the money to make the repayments. People are already feeling it. So what happens in those times, man, is that these people have to sell because they've got no option. They go to sell. The market's still pretty hot, to be honest. The market's still pretty hot, but the people with money, they go on and capitalize. They can purchase it because they've got the money there. Yeah. And, the price will, over time, the whole thing with the whole inflation is to stop spending and all that. So you'll see prices. Well, the intent is for prices on things to drop and all that. But they capitalize on people's misery, and that's why it's a bit tough, because I think when you look at taxes, and that's a whole nother conversation, but you look at what you pay in tax. I was just talking about this with some people the other day, but just to me, like I'll phrase it to you guys. What do you think is if you're earning $180,000 a year, what do you think you're in the top percentage of working population? So if you're earning 180,000, what percentage do you think in the population of the working, which is about 11 million people? This is off stats.
This is in Australia?
In Australia, yeah. These are stats from the ATO, I think.
I'd say 1%.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I mean, it's 180 is pretty good.
Okay.
180 that's
good money. Yeah.
That's big money.
Yeah. I'll come back to that then. What do you think? It's about 136,000. If you're earning 136,000, what do you think, what percentage you reckon you're in?
Probably in the top. Maybe in 10%.
Okay.
10%?
Conservatively.
Yeah.
And just based on some.
No, that's good. You're on, bro. You're on. Yeah. If you're earning 136,000, you're earning 90% more than the population. You're in the top 10%. 180,000, you're in the top 5%. And it's about 253,000, you're in the top 1%.
All the NRL players.
Yeah. So it's crazy when you look at it like that.
But it's crazy when you actually get asked the question and you think about it, because now that I'm more conscious of it, because you asked the question, I'm blown away just thinking about the top 10.
Yeah.
Of 5%, and then wow, okay.
Yeah.
Bro.
It is. It's. I guess what's crazy for me is, especially in the industry that I work, there's not a lot of money. Like mining is it's the number one paying industry. So in mining, it's the number one paying industry. Second, I think it's like IT, and then third is like professional services or something. But yeah, and so for me, when I see that stat, I was like, man, this is what it's crazy. I guess you become accustomed to things like when I see that type of money, like over 136,000, you're the top 10%. I'm like, man, that's not a lot of money. Or 180,000, you go like, man, there's so many people that work in the mines that's just average. So I guess that's when it gives you a true perspective of, again, talking about you only know what you know, but what's outside of mining.
Yeah.
And then, there's a lot of people that are struggling, I think. And people, as I was going back to around the conversation, around the rich capitalizing, it's not generally those people, it's the millionaires. Yeah. They're the people that, and that's what I think when you're looking at our tax brackets and stuff. So pretty much, if you're earning over $180,000, you get taxed pretty much 48 cents to the dollar. So if you're earning 200 grand, that just means that 20,000, that 180 to 200,000, which is that 20,000, gets taxed, say 50%. So you get, of that 20 grand, you get 10 grand. But then someone could be earning $10 million a year, and the tax bracket's exactly the same for them. If they're paying that as a salary. So that's where it becomes, a bit, unreasonable. It does. Unreasonable. But then people in business do things differently too. They don't pay them such high salaries. They'll have they'll run all their expenses through the business, and then they'll pay themselves like dividends, or they'll just let their dividends accrue and all that type of stuff. But
it's crazy. And you're touching on that because like the term billionaire, nowadays is being thrown around like how it was 20 years ago when people were talking about millionaires.
Yeah, right? It's crazy, man. You know what? It wasn't until my daughter, she told me, and it gave me a real perspective of a billion and how much a billion is. And she was saying to me, to count to this is crazy. To count to a million, it takes like, what is it, 7 days or 11 days or something. But then to count to a billion will take you 32 years.
Yeah.
Google it, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't even believe it when she told me.
That's not even funny, man. Like,
it's something like 7 days or 11 days to count to a million, but if you count to a billion, it's 32 years. And I was like, man, and there are these billion people with billions out there. That's insane. That is insane. But it's but I think
I'm hearing more and more like, billionaires, billionaire. This person's a billionaire.
Yeah.
And the term, like 10 years ago, you'd only think Bill Gates.
Yeah, hard. Yeah, it was, bro. It was Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, and that's the only for me. It was like when someone says billionaire, I only had one person.
Yeah.
But now, like you hear terms, and even like on the net and whatnot, and it just goes to show like there are people talking about billionaires.
Yeah.
But here's the rest of us still talking about $100.
Yeah, I know, man.
$1,000.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I think going back to what you were originally saying, Irv, it's just it's understanding money, bro. Wow. Like how I'll make it work for me is probably totally different how other people do it. I know some people that invest and take risk. I'm probably a bit risk adverse on a lot of things. Like, I think just for me, how I've made money work for, how me and my wife have made money work for us has been more around property. Yeah. And it's not that owning lots of property as well. I think for us, a good choice has been buying property in areas that hold their value. And so for us, it's always been things like if we're buying, it's within like a 10K radius from the city because they always hold their value. If you look at stats and stuff, they always hold their value, whether it's rental, whatever it may be. So we're probably a bit, we don't take risk in that sense. But for me, I guess my everyone has different goals. For us, it's just to own your primary house with no mortgage. Man, that's pretty much. I'm happy with that. I think I'm happy with that. And then just to be able to provide, I guess, opportunities for the kids. From a money point of view, that's all I want to do. And we're real with our kids too, because like the schools that they're looking to go to for high school and stuff, like, the school, there's millionaires and stuff that go to school, and it's like with our kids, it's like just being real. It's like, man, they have they're going to be able to do things that you're not going to be able to. And it's just being real with them. So, and I'll probably have those conversations with them now, so it kind of sets that expectation when they do go there, and it's like, oh yeah, Jackie's asked me to go. They're going on a ski trip, a skiing trip to Aspen. Oh well, sorry, you can't.
Did you say we'll pay?
Yeah,
pay Jackie to cut it out.
Yeah. But it's something I think that needs to be taught more to the youth, and especially at school, is just around money.
Yeah.
Because, bro, we don't know nothing. Like, you didn't learn anything about, especially even just the concept of saving and even the concept of interest rates and, you know, especially with hire purchase and stuff. And it's, I think a lot of people could benefit from that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely also. And I love that you touched on the way, like, you know, back in the day, like how they made the most of using like GE Finance, you know, back in the day. Because, you know, as I was saying before, I'm one of those ones that fell to that. It was like, oh, you know, I really wanted that PlayStation. Yeah. You know, and I thought, oh, I'm working part-time. Yeah. You know, I'll be able to, you know, you know, did not read the fine prints. Yeah. And when they said, look, get it now and pay nothing until 6 months. Yeah. You know, and then come 6 months and I'm receiving letters going, oh, you behind on this? We're gonna, and I go back to them and they're like, no, it's like only if you reach this certain amount. And I'm like, you know, but it's out of ignorance, right? Yeah. You know, like I feel dumb. I feel like, you know, at the time I was like, man, so dumb. But I look back at it now and it's like, actually, we weren't taught to think and look at how these things are put in front of us. All of a sudden, we have all these neon lights. Yeah, man. Right, and we're just like, oh, if I can get a PS, you know, PlayStation. At the time, it was massive, right? Yeah. But like, you know, and that ended up affecting me for the rest of my life, living in NZ, because it all just accrued, right? And like my, you know, when I wasn't able to get this because I had this bad rating, you know, and I just wasn't thinking. And you're right, like, you know, our young'uns, you know, if there's only a way to teach them, you know, to be money smart.
Money smart, man.
Money smart. And $5.
Yeah, bro.
I like that you touched on the $5.
$5, man.
$5 a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Right? So instead of having the coffee or whatnot,
put into an account you don't touch, bro.
You don't touch, you know. And
then $5, you may be able to work it to $10.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then just grow it from there.
Yeah. I mean,
but it's just becoming that routine and that habit. And once you're able to do that and just put aside and not touch it, that's the key, man. Yeah. That's the key. But yeah, I don't think there's enough of that being taught. And I think we're also in a society that wants everything now. You just got to have a look at things like Afterpay and all that type of stuff. So, and it's funny because you'll speak to people and they go, oh, you know, things are tough. And, bro, they have always got the, like, new iPhone or they've got something and, you know, driving around a nice car that, you know, a lot of people don't live within their means. Yeah. And that's probably what I see a lot of my industry as well with people that are in that mining sector that are earning that type of money, but they're not smart with it. Yeah. You know, especially in mining, because the last boom, because they talk about a mining boom, and the last one probably would have been back in like 2007, 2008, where they get a lot of people, they pay a lot of money, and then there's a lot of young people that are in the mining, and so they earn good money, they have a lifestyle, and then they spend their money on like jet skis or boats or whatever it may be, and then, you know, like all mining, they'll have a boom. And the sad thing with when you have a boom is the bigger the boom, the bigger the bust. Yeah. So they'll have a boom and then things will start going, you know, the price of coal will drop or iron ore, whatever it may be. And then you've got all these people that have overcapitalized. They need to be earning, you know, $2,000 a week because that pays for their lifestyle. And then that's gone. And then they're like, man, what do I do now? And I even had that happen with some of the boys that work for me on the airport link tunnel, because on the airport link tunnel they were taking home good money. Same thing, probably about $1,600 a week in their hand, and they finished that job, and then, you know, that project finished, like all projects do. They come to an end, and then after that there was another project, and there's like only jobs offering $1,000 a week, and they're like, oh no, man, I need more than that. And it's like, man, it's sad, because then you're seeing a lot of people overcapitalize. They've become accustomed to a lifestyle that they can't afford. Yeah. And that's what I think the other thing that Zoe's always taught me too, my wife, was just around having money for a rainy day, you know, and that's why it's having those savings account. I think the other thing that's good with business too is taught me to be, like I said, I'm not very risk adverse in the sense of, you know, taking risk on crypto or doing that type of stuff, whatever it may be. But it has taught me to identify risk and to plan for risk. So when I'm budgeting, and especially a lot of our work that we did was outdoors, you have to plan for things like wet weather. And if our people aren't working, we're not getting paid. So you budget that into as well. So I guess with life as well, then you start looking at, okay, what things can go wrong? And then it just learns how to adapt your, I guess, I learned how to adapt my forecasting to understand so that I can be quite accurate, you know, which I think something I've always, we call that time management, call it whatever, but I think it's something I've always been pretty good at, has been able to look at something like, I like going somewhere. I always know, like, if I go somewhere, I'll always get there pretty much on time. Yeah, I'll pretty much always get there on time. And it's just little things like, you know, looking at, a lot of people just go, look at Google Maps and it'll tell you to get there, but the amount of people that have trouble to actually be punctual and be on time, man, heaps. Hate that. But yeah.
No, go ahead. No,
that's interesting. You also, money smart. You know, we're not getting taught enough money smart. But you also touched on, no one's actually really going, you know, we're growing up, they're like, oh, hey, you know, do this and you'll be able to do that. Do this, you'll be able to do that. No one's ever gone and said out loud, assume the worst.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, in your day-to-day working life as you grow up, assume the worst, you know, I mean, and prepare for it.
You
know, not so much a focus on assuming on the worst, but, you know.
Because I think that could be taken in a different way too. I think some people may look at that and go, that's been negative. I'm just going to focus on the positive side of things. And don't get me wrong, like it's each person you talk to will probably give you a different perspective on it, But I think it's important to look at what can go wrong. And then having, I guess, you know, things in place to counter that. Whether that's in business, and I guess in my game, it's around, you know, where is there potential risk in my business of things that can go wrong? And if I lost this specific account or client today, what does that mean to my business? So I think that's where it's kind of, you know, you can use that in life. You know, okay, what happens if this, you know, you start looking at things through a different lens of understanding, okay, if I do this, if this happened, what would happen? Even to the extent, bro, where it made us get a will. And, you know, I'm not sure if you both have done a will, but even that's quite, what's the word?
Morbid?
It can be morbid, It's an eye-opener, that's for sure. Because you got questions asking from the solicitor, lawyer, going things like, you know, okay, so if you and your wife and your two kids die, then what happens with your estate and all those types of questions? You know, if you and your wife die, what happens? If, you know, it's all that. If your wife dies, what happens? Confronting, bro. Right. It's confronting.
Right there, it's like,
because there's things you haven't had to think about before.
No, I can't imagine. You know,
and then when you're actually having the conversation with your wife, and it's like, oh well, if we both die, who looks after the kids? And then it's like
differences in opinion.
Whoa, hard. You know, the good thing is we were quite aligned there. So that was the good thing. But it's just those types of questions that you need to start asking you know, and it's things like probably a lot of, you know, a question we always ask ourselves is, okay, if we both lost our jobs, can we still keep our house? You know, can we still live? It's that type of stuff. Because I think people probably are too optimistic. I think some people just, you know, they just get along with life and like, it's just going to stay this way. Nothing's going to change. You know, people get into a new job and they get a pay rise and they start earning more money, and then they, you know, and it's hard not to change your lifestyle because everyone, you know, I know everyone says, you know, well, people are different. Some people like whether you call it the finer things, but you generally, what happens is when most people start earning more money, they start spending more as well. Very few people that earn more money, their level of spend stays the same. You know, because it becomes up things like, you know, you start earning more money and go, oh, actually, we want a pool for the kids. Let's get the pool for the kids. Or it might be, oh, you know, I've always wanted to, you know, renovate inside. Let's renovate inside.
There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it. No. There's nothing
right.
wrong with it. But I think while you're doing that stuff as well, you still got to have that thought process of, okay, what if I lose this job? You know, and that's why I used to say to the boys when they used to work for me as a labourer was always upskill yourself, man. Like upskill yourself, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be a project for 3 years and still be a labourer. Like if you can come out afterwards and you can have tickets and operating machinery, or, you know, you've got I don't know, you know, you go to a specific area where structures or whatever. That's what you need to do. You need to apply yourself and upskill yourself. And I think, I will talk about this if you don't mind. I think because I was talking around the audience and that type of stuff. When people used to come in, there was always there was three main things I used to say to them, and those three things were always one is to be punctual. So if the boys used to come in, I used to sit down and go, man, just like if you start at 6:30, just make sure you're there at 6 or 6:15, because I said, in this day and age, man, people remember people that show up early, and generally all the bosses come in early, man, because they come in early because they're there, get their pre-start talks ready, or they're there early in the morning because they've got other jobs to do before work actually starts. So I always used to say to them, be early, be punctual. And the other thing was be proactive, and being proactive in the sense of don't stand there. Like if you've got nothing to do, if you've done the job, go and ask the boss, hey, what do you want me to do now? A lot of the boys found that hard too, because what they found too was when they were proactive in doing stuff, they were doing a lot more than the people that were working there. And then the people would go, bro, slow down, man. What are you doing? And I always just say, just be proactive. You don't have to be a superstar, but just always look busy.
Yeah.
Be busy. Because it's those times, they could be digging a trench for 6 hours, and then, they stop or have a cigarette or something, and then the boss walks out of the crib room and sees them just sitting there having a smoke, and that's all they think about is, bro, look at this fella.
Yeah.
So be proactive. Like I always say, grab a prop. Like if you got nothing to do, go and grab a broom, man. Just look busy.
Yeah.
The other one was be present, in the sense of show up to work. Because I think if you're not at work, then people they tend to, especially in my business, it was around, we can do without him. We don't need him. Yeah. So be present, be at work, show up, do those things. And the other one's just being 4 Ps, whatever you want to call it, but just being pleasant and being able to talk to people, being able to have a conversation, smiling, going shaking someone's hand. And it's pretty cool because I get to speak about these things for a few years now. There's this, there used to be a company, I think they're called Sandstone back in the days, and there's a new one called RecLink, and it's these kids that are doing a Cert 2, I think, in building construction. So they do this course, and then in the event to try and get them work outside of once they finish the course.
Yeah.
So I go and talk to them probably once or twice a year, and just talk to them around finding work outside once you've done this course, how to interact, and just and then I'll just bring it up straight away, and I'll go, Michael, I said, mate, when you walked up in front of everyone and you just come up and shook my hand, I said, it's that type of stuff that I'll remember. It's those little things that stand out. Definitely. And it's and they sound like little things, bro, but they massive. They go a long way. And when I talk to these kids too, there's this fella I talk about, Lay Afar. And so Lay come and saw me, bro, this is going back probably 2009, 2010. And Lay came in with this other fella, Mo, this big Lebanese bodybuilder fella. And they came in, and that's when we were doing the airport link that just kind of kicked off. And he came in, bro, Lay Samoan, biggest smile, most beautiful smile, man. He's a beautiful fella. And I remember him coming, he always said, hey, Zeb, how are you? Here you're helping people get work on the airport link. So then, everyone wanted to work in this job in Brisbane, right? So I'm getting pumped from thousands of people wanting to work on this job. So he's coming and not taking that out on him, but it's just when people, there's always ulterior motive, people were coming, I remember this guy, Jeff, and his mate Brendan, they called me from Sydney. Said, hey, we heard that you're getting people work on this airport link job. I'm in Sydney. Yeah. If me and my friend drive up, can you get us an induction? I was like, because you need to be inducted to the site before you could work there. Yeah. But induction didn't mean anything, man. All it means is you got induction. So if you did get a job, you could work there. It didn't mean you were going to get a job. So he said, oh, man, I'm happy to drive up there and to do the induction. And I was like, yeah, sweet, bro. Yeah, okay. If you're happy to drive, I'll book you in for an induction. And then they came up and they brought me all the seafood. I remember trying to win the way to get in anyway. But anyway, I was getting calls from everywhere, bro. People were traveling from Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, just to see me because they wanted to get on this job. You know, and Lay, this fellow Lay, he was like he was working at a fruit shop. Him and Mo were working at a fruit shop, and he's like, oh man, we really want to get on this airport link job. You know, we want to get in the tunnels. And I was like, oh bro, do you have any tunnel experience? And he's like, oh nah, but like we'll you know, happy to do whatever. And I was like, oh mate, well, people in these jobs have tunnel experience generally, so fill out our registration pack, and then you know, if anything comes up, we'll call you. You know, kind of brushed it, you know. And then Lay used to call me, but probably used to come in every week. Like he used to come in every week, and like I remember the receptionist one time, bro, he came in, and I remember the receptionist came out and said, "Oh, Lay's here to see you." And I was like, "Oh," so I said, "Oh, tell him I'll be out later." And I carried on working like for another hour, an hour and a half or something. And she came out and she goes, "Oh, Lay's still out the front waiting for you." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay." So I walked out. I remember walking out, and he's just. When I walked out, man, I just remember I opened the door, looked to my right, and I saw Lay, and he's got the biggest smile. He stands up. He says, "How are you, Zeb?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm really busy, mate." And he's like, "Are you busy finding me a job?" And then I laughed. And I was, you know, it stuck with me, bro. And just a smile. And I was like, man, this fellow's like, yeah, you got me, bro. You got me. And so, anyway, I just said to you, I said to Lay, if anything comes up, bro, I'll let you know. But, bro, there was thousands of people that wanted a job there. But Lay was just persistent. And he just keeps showing up, smile, was pleasant to deal with. And I remember I got this job at Kedron Tunnels for a piggy, which is a cleaner. And bro, I called Lay. I said, "Tilly, there's this job. It's for a piggy. It's a cleaner. Have you done some cleaning before?" He goes, "Yes." I said, "Whereabouts?" He said, "I've done some cleaning at the fruit shop." I was like, "The man." So I said, "Just you go out there, you clean. You're probably going to clean the toilets. You'll help doing all this stuff, man, but you're happy." He goes, "Yeah, Zeb, yeah, I can't wait, bro, I can't wait." So happy. So he came into the office, gave him his PPE, like his gear and stuff, and he just that smile, bro. It's just like, "Yeah, man, thank you so much, Zeb." So they were getting good money back then too. I think a cleaner was like on $27.80 an hour. So they did big hours. So they were taking home like $1,400. So they were getting good money.
Yeah.
So anyway, he got him a startup out there at Kedron Tunnels. And I said to him before he started too, I said, "Oh, just so you know, bro, where you're going, the superintendent, like the guy that runs the site, he's a tough nut. He's tough, bro. A tough nut. Yeah, he's tough. He's the type of guy that will bark at you, and you just got to deal with it." He's like, "Yeah, Zeb, no worries, mate, no worries." And to be fair, that's the way he was. I was kind of confident that Lay would be able to deal with it. So anyway, about 3 months in, we were doing a barbecue for changeover. So we got out there, we drove out to site. I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning or something. Straight away, bro, it's pitch black. And then he just, drive in, and then just there standing in front of me, just with our biggest smiles, Lay. Yeah. And Lay's looking over, and he's like, "Oh, come over here, Zeb, I'll take you over here, park over here." And so we parked. And then grabbing all the food. "How you been?" I said, "How you been, bro?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm loving this job. It's awesome, So anyway, he's helped me grab all the food to cook the barbecue, and he's cooking the barbecue, and everyone's walking by. He's going, "Hey, Lay." He's like, "Hey, how are you?" Like, just an awesome guy. And then changeover happened. So pretty much changeover is, the night shift's finishing, and then the day shift will start. And so they'll come out, and so that happened. And then the superintendent came out, and he saw me, and he said to me, "Hey, Zeb." I said, "Hey, mate." And he goes, "Oh, I need to talk to you about Lay." So he said, "I'll talk to you afterwards." So I was like, "Okay, cool." And then cooking the barbecue, all that started, and then the superintendent grabbed me afterwards. He said, "I want to just want to let you know, I want you to start paying Lay a TW1, which means a tunnel worker," because he said, "I'm going to take Lay underground."
That's awesome.
Yeah, so anyway, he ended up taking Lay underground, and Lay was, like I said, he was the type of person that just wanted to ask questions, wanted to better himself, upskill himself, and Lay ended up getting trained on these machines called roadheader and also a jumbo, which is a type of like drilling bits of machinery underground.
Wow, that's
so you can't really get a ticket for these things. Like it's experience on the job, and he was able to go and do that, which was pretty cool.
Wow, that's crazy. Good.
So he did that, bro, and then once he finished that job, bro, and he was trained on those, people in the mines were operating jumbos a day we're earning like $1,500-$1,600 a day.
Man, he made himself indispensable to tenacity, right? Like this.
So it's just that was his journey, bro, which was pretty amazing. And he's one of many, bro. That has really sad thing with Lay. Lay passed away a couple of years ago.
What?
Which was really sad. He battled, same as my mum, he battled pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
And so when he was going through his journey on Facebook and stuff, I actually reached out to him for a couple of reasons. One, to send him my love and prayers and stuff, but then the second was to tell him the story about, I said, sorry, I hope you're okay with it, but I've been sharing the story with these kids, sharing your story and telling him, he was like, man, thank you so much. He said, I'm so proud, that you're able to do something like that. And his path at the time was around helping, kids as well. So it was nice. It was a nice message, but it was nice that his journey I'm able to share with people, because as soon as you tell them that, it's achievable.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you're doing. You can, but I'm sure when he was there working at the fruit shop, and again, there's nothing wrong with working a fruit shop, but I think the most he was earning was like he was getting paid under the table in cash, like $500 a day, to then him being qualified on work to go and work somewhere for $1,500-$1,600 a day.
Wow.
Sorry, $500 a week he was earning at a fruit shop, but to go and earn $1,500-$1,600 a day, just from applying himself.
Being present,
bro. Even showing up.
Even if it wasn't like at work, it was being present.
Being present, bro.
Wanting to work.
Being polite, and I think, bro, he's, like I said, he's one of many. Like even I was talking about the also Drew from Pango, bro. And I'm not saying for people to do this, but there was a job that Drew needed to do, and there was no train or bus that could get him there at that time. So, most people would go, oh, mate, I can't do the job, or, and so what Drew did was, bro, his first day, he took the last bus to that site, so then he slept on that site. He slept on there, woke up in the morning to do his job. And he didn't tell me this too. It wasn't until the site supervisor told me. And the supervisor said, mate, that fella that you sent me, he goes, bro, I rocked up to work, and because he rocked up to work at like 4 o'clock, the site supervisor. He said, your guy was already here. I said, what was he doing there? And he's like, he showed up because there's no buses or anything that could keep him, that could get him there on time in the morning.
Wow.
And it's that type of stuff, bro.
Yeah.
That type of stuff just goes a long way. And the cool thing with this job and being able to help people, and bro, even to this day, like people like going, oh, thank you, Zeb. If it wasn't for you, man, it wasn't for that. All I gave people, when I used to say this to them at the start too, is, man, all I'm going to give you is a foot in the door. Yeah. What you do from it is up to you, man, because that's all I can do. Once you got your foot in the door, it's up to you. And a lot of people, bro, just the great thing is, from my friends and family, no one abused that. It was good. Yeah. But it's just, it's quite simple, bro. I think even just like looking at any profession, it's just been those principles that I just spoke about.
Yeah.
It's just applying yourself and just doing the basics really well, being a good human being, being to hold a conversation with people. One of the best people actually saw do that as well, which was always funny, was remember Isi?
Yes.
Yeah, the toko Isi.
Yeah.
So Isi, bro, like when he came here, Isi's like he's big, he's a unit, bro. He's like 6'2", but he's like, when he was here, he was probably about 140, 150, just big, solid.
I think he was just he was a walking tank.
It's unfair, right?
Yeah, I think he was a big man,
tank with Nikes.
Yeah. But I remember Isi because when I put Isi out on jobs, I remember when I put him out this first job, and it was a earthworks job out at Logan Road. I remember when they showed up, and that's like the supervisor looking at him. Because I think the first thing the supervisor's thinking, bro, is like, what's this fella going to do? Like, is he going to be, is he going to be lazy or whatever? And man, Isi always outworked everyone. He was awesome, bro. Awesome worker, eh? Just one of those guys. Same thing, did all those things, showed up early, worked. The thing where I guess it was different with Isi, because Isi was, he was a professional boxer as well. So he boxed for Tonga and stuff in the Com Games and stuff. Isi's very intelligent, so he knew how to, not only his work ethic, but he knew how to read situations and how to build relationships with key people, I guess, that would end up helping him.
Yeah.
So, he went on, same thing, man. He pretty much every job he worked for me on, he stayed there a long time or ended up going permanent with them. And that's the cool thing, bro. Like there's heaps of the Usors, the Tohos, and family that came from New Zealand that are able to get jobs onto these projects that have now gone off and, been able to do their own thing.
Yeah, with the application of the principles you're talking about.
Pretty much, man. Yeah. It's just, and it sounds, what's crazy is, if we sat down here, like you almost sounds like you're speaking to kids, because just to say those things, okay, be early, make sure you're doing your work when you're supposed to, don't take time off, and just be polite and talk to people. So those are pretty easy. Like when you think about it, those things are easy. Yeah. Well, I guess in my head, they're kind of easy things to do, but to actually find people that do it, man, it's tough. It's tough to find people that actually know how to apply those simple principles just in life.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you touched on the fact that, resilience,
yeah.
Is not as popular.
It's not, man. It's not. Days. I don't think it is. I think a lot of people give up too early. And I think it's almost because it's been taught that now as well, that it's okay, to give up. I think you just need to look at everything. I think even that stems not just in school and kids or work. I think that's even marriages. Well, I think I think last time I heard a stat, I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it's pretty much marriages are 50-50 now.
Yep.
It's like 50-50 of marriages.
50-50.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's a lot of other influential things that happen within marriages, but a lot of it as well is just people when things get too tough, people just go, "Oh well," So it's hard to find people with resilience. I think I've had conversations before around like my work, and people say, what's a word that you would describe your industry or something? It's resilience, because it is. You have to be resilient, especially because for us, our product is people.
Yeah.
So, and they're the most unreliable thing.
Yeah, they said
truth. Truth.
They said that when you go into ministry as well. Yeah. The best part of ministry is people. You work with people. The worst part is you work with people.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, and man.
Sorry, I'm just texting the wife's just, are you all good?
Nah, man. There's a lot of like lessons to be like. Well, not so much actually. Lessons, application of life.
Yeah.
And I love how it's when we can relate resilience, to the application of the 4 Ps.
Yeah.
People aren't as resilient with being punctual.
Yeah.
And being pleasant.
Yeah.
For the last 4 years, 3 of the last 4 years, the school that I work at, I've had to give that grade 12 workshop at the end of term 3 to get them prepared for interviews, and it would shock me to know like how much they don't know.
They don't know, man.
They don't know.
Yeah, they honestly don't know.
And then there's an anxiety that exists there that they don't have to be anxious about. I'm like, man, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Be outgoing. Don't be, Yeah. Everything that you were saying, like those soft skills, the qualities, and maybe we can talk about that offline, because I was like, man, surely there's a market here for recruitment companies to know, not just in my school, but I know of many other schools who have this, like this budding workforce. Basically, you're about a term away from getting out into the world. And you could really create partnership with places like where you work.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely,
and just like get them upskilled, get them across the line.
Yeah.
But I love that. Like and I'm thinking like even if you don't see the immediate effect of some of the things that you're sharing with them, it builds something on the inside that's intangible, like like an integrity about your work. If no one sees you working, or if you're working harder, your perception is you're working harder than the rest of them. Yeah, that should build an integrity in you.
Absolutely.
That you can be proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, man. Like I think when you look at today, it's I don't know what it is, bro, but it's just a lot of people we're going back to it just around that entitlement, but I think I think also a lot of people are, like if you look at a lot of the billionaires, going back to the billionaires, a lot of them are young. A lot of them are young, man. So a lot of people that are making, changes or things in the world, especially a lot of it's around IT and that space, are quite young. So it's I'm finding myself as well, I'm having to adapt and look at things differently as well, because you've got to evolve. I guess to an extent with society, but I think those principles that I spoke about, they don't change.
They hold true.
There's other things that change, but those will never change. Like I think being on time, man, and I think always speak it about with my old souls as well. Like, man, if it's 7:30, it's 7:30. It's not 8:30, bro. It's not. It's this island time, and that always been an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's a disrespect for people's time. So I think it's those little things that you just got to remind people about. And like I said, those principles won't change for anyone. It doesn't matter what job you're doing as well. It doesn't matter what job you're doing. You could be a CEO, you could be a piggy. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you can apply those things, it makes a difference. And then each job obviously comes with its own different layers of other things to do. But I think even being able to hold a conversation with people is so important. Just holding a conversation, like so many people can't hold a conversation, man.
Yeah, that is so true.
It's scary.
Just a genuine conversation.
Yeah.
Like, what did you do on the weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That is so true.
So true, man. So many people you can talk to, and it's just there's that awkwardness.
Yeah.
And I feel for them
because they struggle.
They struggle, man.
Yeah.
And the best way to have a conversation too with anyone is just to talk about them. So if always I'm in any type of environment, it's just about them. Like, oh, what do you do? Oh, okay, cool. Do you have family? And you just ask them questions so they feel a bit more comfortable then to open up and stuff. But people, man, a lot of people struggle to have a conversation, which is I don't know. Each to their own. Each people are different, but it's just it is quite sad how a lot, even those skills, and that's why it's even saying at the start how we're talking about even my kids to have a conversation with someone or look them in the eyes when they're talking.
That's big.
It's big, bro.
That's big.
Or acknowledge someone when they talk to you. Like I hate it when some people that I know and you go over and they're like, say hello to Zeb and Zoe. It's like, bro. Bro, seriously,
that is
man.
so true, man.
Not when they're arguing with their parents in front of you.
Bro, hard.
I already said this. I was already said
It's
like, oh, thanks. Oh, wow.
Bro, it's true, man. And that's why I always, like, when we go to, and even my girls will always say, we always do dad or we always do mum. But it's like, when you get there, you make sure you say hello to everyone. You go and shake their hand or whatever, go and give them a hug or whatever. But ask them how they are and have a conversation, because it's that in itself gets you a lot of places in life. Just being able to sit down and have a conversation with someone. Because really, as well, if you look at it, even when you're employing someone, generally people employ people they like. And something I always used to say to my team, like if they're bringing on a new salesperson or something, I used to say to them, could you spend 4 hours with them in a car?
True. I like that.
Nah.
I like that.
Well, mate, get rid of them.
I like that.
If you can't spend 4 hours with them in a car and have a conversation and be comfortable, mate, how do you think they're going to be with our clients? Like, just... And that's important, especially from a sales point of view, man. And I think that's the biggest thing as well. Sales has evolved, because I think when you say sales, generally you used to always think of that, car salesman and all that type of stuff. Where now I think sales is more just around, people deal with people they like and people they trust. Yeah,
absolutely.
Or people that can provide a solution to, I think that whole sales side of things is kind of gone, in the sense of people want to understand, because people already are short on their time, so people just want to know, can you help me solve this problem or not? I don't really care if you. Some people still care about we take you to the league rugby games or whatever, that stuff. But I think a lot of it's now just being able to connect with people, and so I think for myself as well, I don't view myself as a salesperson. I find out that I know how to connect with people and have a conversation. And again, that's trying to instill in my kids, just be able to talk to people and have that conversation.
It's slowly missing.
Yeah, it's sad, bro.
Yeah,
it's sad because I think these are the problems, man. These devices, people are, it's funny. Like even see my kids and they'll be like, with their friends texting, FaceTiming, and then they see each other and they're like, hi. It's like, oh,
I'm sure what comes next.
Go man, go and play.
There's no invisible emoji. Yeah, you can send.
So I think that's a big. I think that's definitely a contributor to where we are today. Is people, that hide behind devices.
Yeah,
which is
because
crazy.
it's easy. Because
it's easy, man.
You know, and
people know how to communicate through that, but not through through talking, and that's in itself is a bit scary. Yeah, because with all this, artificial intelligence and stuff. Bro, that's a whole nother topic.
Thing, Bro, that scares me, man.
It's scary.
Honestly scares me because I was watching my son. He goes, "Dad, watch this. This is really, really funny." And I was watching it, and then it showed like Donald Trump and Barack Obama and Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Like it looked like them having a conversation, right? And they're talking about like they're playing Minecraft with each other.
Shit.
And then I'm like, "What's this, son?" And he was like, "Oh, just this is they're having a conversation." And they were just mocking, making fun. And I'm like actual. And he goes, "Yeah, no, I know they're doing the whole AI thing." And I'm like, "Bro."
Yeah, it's pretty scary, bro.
Now I'm
that
old,
space is well, it is, bro, because these are the types of things that I think our parents and grandparents went through, like things like seeing the first man on the moon, or that type of stuff, bro. I think but we're starting to see that stuff now, like with the first electrical cars and artificial intelligence, and I think that in itself is going to be a major game changer.
I think it's going to be a major game changer back in the day.
Yeah. But I think just for our economy, for everything, I think what that's going to be able to do is going to change
speed,
like everything, man.
Speed.
Yeah. So a friend of mine, her brother has this business, and I caught up with him on the weekend actually, and just having a yarn, and he's got this business that really smart, but pretty much what he does is he's got this. He uses artificial intelligence to connect people that are looking to buy a car with like the brokers, so people that can offer them finance. Wow. So what he'll pretty much do is he'll get all the, I guess, the questions to qualify potential buyers and understand their parameters and what they need to achieve in order to, pretty much tick these 5 boxes, and then you can go with this person. Tick these 3 boxes, you can go with this person. So that's pretty much what his business does, and uses artificial intelligence to actually pump people into a funnel for these people to then purchase vehicles. But he was saying to me, he said, because he's been dealing in this space with AI, he said, since 2017. So he said, we're only just starting to see the benefits now. But he said another 12 to 18 months, he said, you'll be having a conversation with someone on the phone that you will think you won't even know. And he said it'll be artificial intelligence. So, and that's what I said. I said, well, where does this go? Does this go towards taking people's jobs? He said, yeah, we'll take some people's jobs, but what it will do is people utilize it in a lot of the back-end functions of some work to actually, it might be things like in sales, it might be leads. So, cold calling is what people hate to do. But if you can, put 1,000 numbers and that calls 1,000 numbers all at that once. Simultaneously. It's those types of things. So then you get the warm lead, but then you still have your human that still does the closing. So, you utilize it in different ways, and you can, that could be anything, man. That could be back end works, that could be payroll, that could be, there's a number of different industries you could use that for. But it's going to be a game changer. I think even now, like you just look at, man, I wish I learned computer science. You just look at what people are able to do now. Everything is, and it's hard trying to find that balance with your kids of, what's too much device time.
Because it's a new language.
It is, bro. That's all they use. Like if you think about it, at work, silly, I don't write. Everything is on my laptop, or if I do take notes, it's on my laptop. And with them, it's going to be exactly the same. It's going to be. It's not going to go the other way. It's going to go even further into that. So it's going to be interesting to see where it all pans out. And what jobs that offers for us
AI
later on.
Far out. That's
AI.
AI.
Man, it's I guess I've got a couple of just 2 more things I think.
Yeah, bro.
In closing, like just talking to you, Zeb, like, man, you know, when you came in, and it's been it's been a while since we last spoken, and even before that, and it sounds like to me, like, tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like to me like you've had something similar to an existential crisis, or like you've found what it is to be content in life, almost. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you have this real, like, even keelness about you. Like, just, like, you know, with most, I remember I had an old boss who used to tell me about just the urgency in some salespeople. He used to like it, it's commission breath. Like, and I never heard the term before. Yeah. But this real, like, you can tell when someone's BSing you, you know? Right. Yeah. But man, you sound like you've got a real contentment about life now. Yeah. That is not swayed by how much coin you make or, you know, what position you hold. Yeah. Did you have a moment in the last 10 years where you just went, man, what is life all about? Like,
yeah, definitely your goals and I guess your motivators change. For me, when I first started, like at 2008, what I was talking about before, with the 45,000 a year and looking up on the board what you can make, my motivator then was money. Like, that's all I cared about. And for me, it was just to really, I saw an ability to make money. And it was about not just, you know, they say, you know, don't work hard, work smart. But it was more for me, was finding a way to work smart and then working it hard. And for me, that was my motivator. And then over my journey, bro, in life, like when I said I went to WA, like the reason why I went to WA was to expose myself to a different part of the business and to be part of a massive, I guess at the time it was the from a recruitment point of view, it was the biggest I guess project in Australia was a Rio Tinto contract in mining, and I went over there to help set it up, get it all done.
Just a side question: do you ever meet? Was that Reinhardt or what's
Gina Reinhardt? No, I didn't, man. We didn't do any work with Gina Reinhardt. Yeah. So no, I didn't get to meet Gina Reinhardt. So I went over there, and for me, man, that was about my development as an individual. It wasn't about the money, because we took a pay cut, like a lot of money. Like we took a massive pay cut for me to actually leave my business here to go over there to do that. And it was purely because my motivators had changed. It wasn't about the now. It was about, okay, what can I learn from going through this, and what can it expose me to for later on in life? So I think that was my motivators kind of changed then. And then when I came back, man, it's because I was with this company for 13 years. Again, it was, okay, I've reached, and my mentor pretty much said to me, he said, you're at a crossroads. He said, you can either stay where you currently are, and he said, if you're going to stay, you might as well stay forever, or he said, you can leave, and you can go and learn and develop and learn something outside of where you've currently been for the last 13 years. So he said, either way, it's up to you. Either way, you have pros and cons of what you do. So I think for me, man, I made a decision to leave, and it was to learn and develop in different areas as well. You know, I think the organisation that I work for was a massive organisation. Like I think, you know, I left was like a $1.6 billion company, big company. We had departments for everything. You know, when I left, I was head of sales and operations for Queensland and Northern Territory, and that's what I was saying. It's about a $300 million business, big business. And so we had departments for everything. And when I say department for everything, I mean we had a marketing department, we had a HR department, we had an IR department, we had a tenders department. So pretty much it allowed me to have a real high-level overview of the business, to then be strategic and look at areas of, okay, I'm going to focus on this, because all that other stuff, that noise had been taken away from me, where I needed to get probably, by leaving that company, I wanted to get a bit more in the weeds to actually understand more of a legislation side around things, more around dealing with unions, more around understanding, a true business and helping something grow and evolve. And so that was quite important to me, and I wasn't going to get that where I was. So that's the reason why I ended up leaving.
Yeah.
So definitely just what you were saying, also, like I think for me it's these I haven't had a real if I look at when people look for that moment or when things have changed, I think the moment for me initially was seeing the potential of what you could earn, and by going through that journey has just led me to other things. So for now, what I'm driven for, it's not about just the money. Obviously, money is important, but it's not just about that. Actually, when is this podcast when are you gonna air this?
Probably this will be probably next week.
Next week? Okay. So I'll probably get to say.
Shall I delay it?
Hey, no. The reason I was going to say that too as well, because I'm actually where I am now. I'm going to resign from my current job.
Okay.
And the reason why I say
Man,
that.
I was just about, my last question was, what's next for Zeb?
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. So I'm actually going to resign where I am. So I've been here and I've learned a lot in the last 2 years. But for me, the next thing is the next challenge. And this is what I was talking about before is, stay somewhere for 10 years and then, that's looked upon as, okay, this is good. But for me now, it's not really around staying somewhere for that long. It's what you can learn.
Yeah.
So I think for me, going where I'm leaving and why I'm going to, so I'm going to a big organization, but also I'm following my mentor and my old managing director. He's the managing director at this business. And I think for me, it's another challenge. Yeah. It's another area where I'm going to see me be able to develop, because I've done a lot in business, but I haven't. One thing I haven't done is mergers and acquisitions. So what that is
companies buying other companies.
That's it. Yeah. Company buying other companies, bro. But then also when it comes into so the company I work for is a holdings group. So they purchase companies. And then I'll be working for that company, which actually goes and purchases companies. But then it's also being part of that, that process, being able to not only go to market and have a look at, who are we buying? Why are we buying them? What's the short-term goal and long-term goal for them? But then also once they become part of our company, is there ways or efficiencies that we can grow their business?
Man,
can I go into their business and have a look and go, okay, what can I help make their business more profitable? Where can I save them money?
It's a new entity, right?
Yeah,
that's it, Brian. Yeah. So you still, and the whole concept around good mergers and acquisitions is that you don't want to bring them in and then rip them to pieces and then build them back together. You want to look for a well-established business, bring them in, and then once you bring them in is then let them do their thing, but then look at other areas where potentially you can influence or efficiencies that you can grow that business.
That's awesome.
So that's a big thing for me. The other thing for me too is that they're international. So being an international business, getting that exposure to the international market. And I think for me, that's a big thing as well. I've only been Australia, where this will, broaden me to South Africa and Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, but then also they'll look to grow businesses probably through that like Middle East, Indonesia. So to be part of
that's a big space.
Being part of that international side of business is exciting for me. And I think the main thing as well is my boss that I work for, who was the managing director. He's someone that I believe in. He's definitely someone that is really. He's ruthless, but you have to be when you're in those types of jobs and you're running, billion dollar organizations. You have to be ruthless. You have to make decisions that are tough, and I really like that about him. And I've seen him turn. Like when he first started, I think he came in about 2010. The business I was working for at the moment was a $270 million business when he came in, and then he grew him to a $1.5 billion business. So that's a massive achievement.
I'm thinking about when you count to $1 million and you count to $1 billion.
Absolutely.
I'm like
32 years. So to be able to do that and do that in a 10-year period too was pretty amazing. So I think that excites me. So I think for me, what excites me now is what's next for me is that constant growth and learning. That's important to me. Obviously, money plays an important part, but not probably the most important part. And also, I think to an extent, and I say this to an extent, is being able to have that work-life balance. And I say that because I know, going to work for this company, and even now, I work a lot, but, being able to have time with the kids, being able to, at the moment, I'll work from home 2 days a week to drop them off, pick them up, those types of things, I love. So definitely your motivators change. And I know when I start, because I'll be doing a bit of travel and have to get around, and even at the moment, where I currently am, I travel, but it's just around Australia. That's plays a significant part in what you want to. For me, anyway, being content for me is as long as I know my family is healthy. That I'm present, that I can be a good, role model, and also not just me, but my wife as well, be able to provide for our kids and give them the opportunity. Bro, I'm happy with that. Yeah, but then it is tough because you say that, and then I think as human beings, I wish there was you knew you just when your cup was full, that was it. But it's always okay, it's funny, man, because then it's okay, what's the next thing? But I think as long as I was talking about those principles before, I think it's the same thing as if it's if your family remains your priority, and everything around it, I guess will fit in with that, then you're fine anyway. I think they will fit in with it.
And it's. I just think, just as you're talking, Zeb, I feel like you get a kick out of opening doors for people,
100%,
which is amazing. It's so good.
I think that's one of the main motivators as well, too, man. Is being able to provide opportunity for others, and being able to influence or for them to make a change or a difference, for them to actually have that moment that I had. And actually then start reaping the benefits from it, from their hard work. And that's the thing. And even when I go and speak to these kids that do this training course, it's even if you can help one of them, or one of them just something clicks with them, even if it's those 4 principles, whatever. It's those little things, but I'll definitely get a kick out of that also.
And it's not in a narcissistic way, like a self-serving.
No self-serving. Honestly, also I hate like when we catch up with Usos. There's a group of us. There's probably a group of 12 of us, and I think of the 12, I think all 10 of them work for me at some point in time, and I know they're just doing it from a place of love, but they're like, silly man, honestly, thank you. I hate that. No, I didn't. Bro, it's always silly. Man, you did it. All I did was open the door, and if I was in the same position as you would have done the same thing. So, it's definitely not for that, because it's, I'm not that person. I don't do things for something in return or something like that. But if I can help, help any part of the journey, man, I'll do what I can to help people.
And that's that's really evident in your response when we reached out to you. It was almost immediate. I hear of a lot of friends of mine who have ventured into podcasting, become disheartened because no one wants to be on a podcast. No one wants to bear what's going on behind closed doors. But man, it was like an immediate return, man.
And on top of that is the time. Time is we value time.
100%.
We value time, and so to be able to take the time out to come through and we're discovering about these kids that you guys are talking to, right? And then you're seeing these things, but you're not telling us about it, because that's what it is. You're letting us know on how we can apply opportunities. Apply the 4 Ps. Apply the which is really, really awesome. Also. Good on you, man. And
I think what you guys are doing is pretty cool, and I guess that's why I reached out, because I think it's I was quick because I think it's I think it's important. I think it's important if you can, and not saying, because if anything, bro, I know we were talking about it before we started the podcast, but I hate it's funny when I was younger, I loved the attention. Like I used to love the, like I was always the class clown, or I loved the attention on me. And the older I've got, the more I hate it. And if anything, like I was probably even more conscious of coming on here around. I didn't want this to be more of a, I've done this and I've done that. It's because I'm definitely not that person. It's more around, okay, potentially how can we help others? How can we help others just to get a start, or just to, even to see it's even as basic as just those things that we spoke about. But then also, I think with that being said too, man, it's also got to be understood, and we touched on it as well, is that you've also got to work for it, man. It's not given to you. Nothing. Like when you talk about even you talk about $100,000, like you don't earn $100,000 easy, man. And the higher you go, it's just it's even tougher, and so you've got to work for it. And I think that's what's important. And it's just, again, I keep coming back to it, man. You only know what you know, and it's just if some of what we're talking about today can resonate with someone, or go, I'm just gonna put $5 away, or I'm just gonna show up early, and I'm gonna be proactive, and I'm gonna try and have a conversation with someone, and I'm gonna be present, even that type of stuff, and that can help through someone's journey. Then I think that's awesome. It's just about the give back.
That's it.
Yeah, it's about that give back.
And we appreciate you for that also.
Nah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Man, I'm honestly super proud of you, eh?
Thank you, brother.
I could sit here and just listen to you all night, man. Bloody hell, man. I'll give you a good listening to,
Don't let the San Francisco cap.
Hey, there's no need for that. That's right. That's
right. But like, man, it's funny. I went to, it was funny. I went to a company party once with a cap on.
Yeah.
And the boss came to me and said, "Hey, did you just come from robbing a 7-Eleven?" Because I had a cap on. I was like, "Oh, true."
That's one, bro, silly. Yeah, that's one thing at work, bro. Everyone knows my office for bumping sounds. Like always, bro. And I'm always like whatever music. Like I've got a diverse taste of music, but it's generally hip hop or that type of stuff. But nah, man, that's another thing. Like it's I don't change. I haven't changed myself and the person that I am in the sense of, may not be. I will say this: like if in my line of work, I always wear long sleeve shirts to cover because of my sleeve. The only reason why I do that is purely because I don't want to give anyone. Some people will like it, some people won't. So I'd rather just eliminate that to give them the opportunity to not to like it. So I don't cover up for any. I think if anything, probably if you have tattoos or any type of minority is probably embraced now, especially in the type of organizations I work for. Like, they're very embracing around anything, like that, especially tattoos or anything. If anything, people, that's really cool. Tell me about it. And that was even the cool thing when I started at this job. When I started was, I was going through this journey, and they wanted to learn about it. They wanted to know about it, even the whole sleeping on the floor. So it was interesting just talking to them about that. So it is, but I know what you're saying. Also, like, I still, bro, when I rock up, I still wear a cap or, do that stuff as well. And it is funny, bro, because in that corporate world too, they're a lot, they're different.
Here's the thing, like I know that knowing the way you guys are, you're not doing it just because, I want to be that guy.
No.
Knowing the way you guys are, that's just how you guys
are. How you are, man.
Right? And so you...
Tell you, I still have my red bandana on my desk.
I love that, eh? That is...
Does my blue offend? Bro, I remember that, man.
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
It was funny.
I still laugh about the fact that, remember when we were outside with our red rags?
Yeah.
And we looked up and
bro.
The road and they had like the black belt come out.
Yeah,
and
bro.
I was like,
because we worked behind the courtroom. Yeah.
That's it, bro. Right. Started doing our blood walk inside.
Like,
yoza, bro, yoza.
I love it because it was fun, right?
It was fun, bro.
It was just fun to do, and I think what we didn't venture out to be that, right? But we loved just the fun that we had, And I think that's what we embraced. It was just,
bro, it was fun.
And and people were like, "Fuck, these guys are clowns," and it's like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah,
but we, you enjoyed it, and we were very present. I think with.
That's it, bro.
Yeah,
we were present. We probably just didn't have the work ethic. The work ethic to.
I think we're still working on it.
Yeah, but I think that's probably the environment and the culture I create now, is that fun environment.
Yeah,
where you want the people to have fun, have a laugh. But then when it comes down to work, you work. We just missed the work aspect of it where we were. Yeah, we had fun. We just had fun. But I think where I am now, I think that plays an important part too, because. Man, if you think about it, you spend more time with your work colleagues than you do with your family for a lot of us. Yeah, so you got to enjoy it, man.
Very true. Very true.
You got to enjoy it. And I think too, for me as well, I was just talking about that, just recapping on that, man, was just around, it's got to, even where I work now, I want to go somewhere where you can influence that culture or be able to help people along with their journey as well. So that's an important piece. But it's man, like I said, still probably got another 20 years worth of work. So I'm sure I'll learn a lot more over those 20 years. But I've just been very grateful and blessed to have the opportunity and from what they offer here in this country, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good, hey?
Yeah, it is, bro. It really is.
Real blessing, eh?
Oh. Real blessing, man.
I'm on the same page with you guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I think I was watching TikTok, and the number one financial advice about Auckland is to leave.
Hard hours.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's cold, but it's true.
It's true, man. But then, hey, there's some people, bro, that have money. Like, bro, even here, man, some people with some money, man.
Some hitters, eh?
Some hitters, bro. And, and some young people that have just got, and we're not talking money, bro, there's this guy that just lives around the corner from us. And, bro, he's got he just got the new Lamborghini Urus. He's got a Ferrari. He's got a McLaren. He's got the G-Wagon.
He's got the G-Wagon.
Bro, he's got everything, bro. And trying to find out about who he was and all that type of stuff. And I won't say his name, but what he's done is he brought, those gel guns?
Yeah.
Those gel guns, yeah. So he's got the exclusive rights for Australia to import those gel guns, and then he sells them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so bro, he's made his money through there. Something small, but you just, obviously killing it and making a lot of money doing it. So it's just, there's some real smart, creative people out there.
Yep.
And it's cool to see, but there's some people with some money, man. You look around and you go, man, you're like, you're in the top, 1% if you're earning more than 250,000, but there's a lot of people that are earning a lot more than that, man.
That still blows me away, man.
It's crazy, eh?
That still blows me
1%.
away.
Now that data, that's the most recent data, and that was from 2020, 2021. So, with COVID and stuff, it's probably gone up a little bit just because of that skills shortage, and people are paying more now because it's harder to find people. So it's probably gone up, but it's pretty crazy. Yeah. Top 1%, 5% over 180,000, and then if it's 136,000, it's you've earned 90% more than everyone else in Australia.
That blows me away, man, because the
gap is massive, man.
Far out.
And that's where it's tough. But then you look at New Zealand, man. I don't know how they do it, but anyway, I guess I do know how they do it. They have a 4-bedroom house with generally a lot of people living in that 4-bedroom house.
It's like we're living in the 60s again.
It is, man.
Where the Polynesian influx was, sharing accommodation in order to get ahead. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it just keeps getting further and further. Even I was talking to, but someone was telling me there's a development there now, and it's past Pocono ways. It's going, hey, Pocono.
Yeah, they're heading further and further south.
further and further out.
The commute, hey?
Yeah. People are commuting and stuff. And just going, man.
Pukekohe, I think was 5 years ago, I heard.
Too far.
Is becoming, becoming the place everyone's moving down.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
It's crazy, man.
We thought, Papakura. But
yeah. Or even out west.
Yeah.
People you go from out west. West was like a different world when I was growing up. It's you're west side. Oh, man. They were like, you're over there.
Yeah. When they're heading further
it's and people going further all north. Yeah. If you're at Glenfield or North Harbour ways, bro. That was a totally I'll tell you a funny quick thing. Glenfield. Shout out to my uncle Bruce. I remember playing for the Glenfield
Bears?
Rugby under 19s final, silly.
Yeah.
And I was 21. 21 playing for the Glenfield under 19s rugby final. Till then, I'm pretty sure it was me. Shout out to also Nelly.
Shout out to you, Nelly.
Nelly Sasulu. He's in Samoa now. And then
what was he, 23?
22, I think. And so I think the other one was Khan Futuliti.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, played for Samoa.
Yeah.
Khan, yeah. So Khan was one of the Usos from school as
Was
well.
he underage or was he?
Khan's same age as me, boy. So he was the same, yeah, boy. So we were playing, bro. Wonder why we won, eh? So he had bloody like 3 21-year-olds playing, and then one of the other toko Sione. They came and played because my Uncle Bruce called me. You or your mates can come and play for the under 19s grand final. I think it was like 2003, bro. Under 21 years old, bro. It was my birthday because he got me a birthday present for my 21st.
Oh, surely.
And I'm playing in the under 19s final.
Only out west, eh?
We smashed them. We smoked them, mate. We smoked them.
Well, it's good. That you smoked them because if you won by 2 points.
We had a mad team.
Man, that's an old school name.
Yeah, he's like Khan Futuli. Yeah,
the OG Aaron Smith.
Yeah, bro. He was the man, bro.
Oh, his
talk about late bloomers.
He
was a late bloomer, man, because he didn't play any like Auckland secondary schools or anything.
No, because you didn't hear anything about him until all of a sudden he blew up.
He blew up,
and
bro.
you're like, oh, where did this guy come from?
Because straight after school, he came over here. Him and one of those other also Seoul, and they played for Bond University. So they played at Bond University.
Oh wow!
And then I think Khan went back to New Zealand and played Napier. It was either Napier or Nelson, and then just went from there. Then he went to play for the Crusaders.
That's crazy.
And then he just started ripping it up in the Super Rugby.
Yeah.
Bro, I just remember going, man, like Khan was always a good player, but he just found it later years that, man, he really excelled. And then I think he went over to play in the English Cup
Europe,
League. Yeah, like I think he played in for Wales. Like he played for a Welsh team, and then he played for like a couple of English teams as well.
That's crazy because you're so familiar with they're playing in the NPC.
Yeah.
Then they're playing in the
yeah, man.
And I was like, you didn't hear anything in the NPC.
Yeah.
Because
boom.
Because whether it be Napier or Nelson, that's be like 2nd or 3rd division, right? And then boom, Crusaders.
Yeah, man.
What the?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he went across to the Crusaders and he was just killing it, bro. Yeah, so he was definitely a later bloomer because obviously, you see a lot of the names come through the through from high school.
Yeah.
Like I remember, man, and we had only hung in high school, bro. We had a mad team that year. Like we were playing against like the year of like Kelston, like Sam Tuitabo and Johnson Neal, Anthony Tuitavake,
there's some really
Missy
big
Lee,
names,
Tulepapa.
Yeah. Awesome players.
There's some good players, man.
Really good players.
Even Joe Rokothoko, he was playing for St. Kitts. John Afoa. Yeah, man, they had some good teams.
There's some seriously good names.
Serious good teams.
John Ford just
he just came back, bro. He came back. I saw that.
Crazy.
Bro, he just came back. But yeah, weird. Yeah.
I remember Sam Tutupo.
Yeah.
We were at a 21s tournament.
Yeah.
And, bro, I think 2 ambulances came
bro,
to take the victims of the...
Seriously, bro. He could hit,
He could hit, man, for a small guy.
Yeah. There was only one other fellow that used to be in our school. He was the centre, Fusser, and Fusser could, bro. He was the hit man. Yeah. Like I saw Sam hit people, bro. But this fellow Fusser, bro, he used to kill people. Like honestly, fold them. And like I remember even when we came over here in 2000 for our Gold Coast Carnival, and played over here, and we ended up winning the carnival, which was cool. And then some of the boys ended up, forgot the team they played for, but they played against Bond University, their premier team.
Yeah.
So Frank would have only been 17. And, bro, their fullback, I remember their fullback was carving up, man. Like he was stepping the whole team, bro.
That's me.
And then Frank lined up this fullback and nailed him. Like the ambulance came, bro. And, yeah, like that was, bro, Frank was the hit, man. And even the boys still talk about him. Like he's like talking about boys that should have been All Blacks. Bro, Fusser should have been All Black. He was never seen someone get hit like he hit. And like the big boys too. He used to hit the big boys. But yeah, man.
Man, I played in that tournament, 4 years earlier.
Did you?
In 96, yeah.
Yeah, crazy,
Good
bro.
time on the Gold Coast, eh?
Bro. That's a whole... Oh.
That's a different podcast.
Sorry, that's a different podcast?
Yeah.
That's like, open my eyes.
Like, where would you like to go to college?
That was crazy, yeah, man.
Bro, it was such... Bro, I reckon that was one of the funnest... Like, when I look at life, that was probably one of the funnest times in my life.
Yeah.
Was that... Because you're with the boys...
Yeah.
You come over, you know, and it's all about rugby.
You guys won it?
We won it, bro.
Yeah, so did we.
Yeah, we won it, bro.
Something different,
yeah,
eh?
it was amazing, man.
Yeah.
And so we won that carnival. We played, who do we played? I think we played Rangi Toto in the final.
Did you?
Yeah, we played Rangi
right.
Toto. And I don't even think that, we smoked them in the final, man. I remember our
How random is that?
yeah, I know. Bro, I just remember playing New South Wales Country. Bro, they were tough. They were tough, man. Dirty as well, but they were.
You need
they were
only
tough.
say country.
Hey?
You need only
Yeah,
say
exactly.
country.
They were tough, man. But that was so fun coming over here for that carnival and just being with the boys. And I think you're in that camaraderie with the boys.
Yeah.
And then because I was born in '82, and my driver's license, I was able to turn the 2 into a 0, just using some skills with paint and the needle. So yeah, we had fun, bro.
He is 12.
Yeah.
This is his ID.
So I was 18. I was over 18, and then just going clubbing over here when you're 17, and bro, that was an eye opener. But it was fun. Yeah. Well, true, bro. I didn't know that carnival was going on for that long.
man.
96. We played
That's
Sydney
crazy.
Grammar in the final.
Who'd you play?
Sydney Grammar.
Oh yeah, mean.
Yeah.
Wow.
27-3.
That would have been solid.
Sydney Grammar, bro. Man, that would have been good.
Yeah, it was a good final.
Yeah.
But it was just, I remember the tournament was just fun. I think we won because we were having fun.
We were the same, bro.
We went back home and still got smoked by everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got smoked by everyone.
What school were you at?
St. Peter's.
Okay, yeah,
So
St. Peter's.
96, and then I moved to St. Paul's in 97.
So the St. Peter's 2000,
Yeah.
unbeatable.
Yeah.
Swanee, that's when Swanee was
Swanee.
playing from. Yeah, bro.
That's another name.
Yeah, man, he was a beast even back then, bro.
Purcell in the middle.
And Kane, he was their halfback.
Oh, he's silly.
He was the man. They had they had a mad team, but they were unbeaten. So they were not even in that comp. Then they went to the national comp, unbeaten, bro. That 2000 team, they were amazing. They were amazing. Mace, he was number 8, man. They had
Mace,
bro.
Mace.
Yeah, they were also Mace and Merrick. Was it Chris Merrick?
Chris Merrick.
Yeah, they had a mad team.
Well, those guys, man, they ended up turning up for Ponsonby, and I remember
Bro.
they put 100 points on us.
Yeah,
So
serious.
I went and played for Pakuranga. And I was like, man, why did
Pakuranga.
I join this club?
I went to Grammar Carlton.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
With Chris Tatiana?
Yeah, Chris was there, bro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Was
Chris
he
was there.
coaching?
Yeah, Chris was there. How do you know Chris?
St. Peter's. And then he went
of course.
to Onehunga.
Yeah.
But then I had a few friends like Tavita, Aholele.
Yeah, bro. Lei Oholele.
Yeah.
Well, I lie. When I went to WA, he was the only doko there.
He was there.
Yeah, he was there, bro. So I saw Lei when I first got there, and then unfortunately, like that's when he moved to. I think he moved to Melbourne. So I got there, so I was like, yes, I've got someone I know, and then then he left. But yeah, Lei, bro. Shout out to Lei. He was the man, bro.
I hadn't seen him since school, and then I was at a church conference.
Yeah.
In Sydney.
Oh,
We were
serious?
staying in the same hotel, and the mate of mine I went with,
Yeah.
the young Balangi guy, we went to check out the sauna.
Yeah.
Bro, and I was
Lazy.
sitting there, goes, bro, your lay I left when I was at school was
Yeah.
pretty small.
Yeah.
Quiet. Bro, and then he's standing over me, and I looked at him for like 20 seconds straight. I was like, what the heck? Is he like going to mug me or like...
Yeah, bro. He was scary, bro.
He was massive, eh?
He was massive.
And he was like, oh, Earth.
Bro, yeah. Because I remember he came across to Onehunga, and bro, he came across with a goatee. Like we're at high school, bro, and the man had a full on goatee. Like, hey,
He must have thought he was going to Kelston.
oh man, he was a beast, bro. He was scary. Well, I think our 2000 year forward pack. I think our forward pack was heavier than the All Blacks.
Oh, he's silly.
We had a massive team, bro. Massive. Like I was the smallest. And we just, in our forward pack, bro, man, they were monsters. So, that was
This is 2000.
2000,
I
bro.
think we could have used you as your blacks. You
Bro.
as your blacks.
They were monstrous, bro. And we, even our prop, we had this fellow, Leo, and Leo, man, he was a monster, and he was just, same thing, like Sawani, bro. Sawani was a freak. just like big, fast.
Yeah.
And Leo was just powerful, man. Yeah, like you're saying, bro, they were awesome times. Awesome times thinking back then. And yeah, just thinking about coming over in 2000, just getting up to mischief.
Eyes open, eh?
Eyes open, bro.
Eyes open.
Eyes wide open.
I've never seen people
I like that
go
too.
after
Eyes open.
you coming to their clubs because it's always like, nah, you're too young.
Yeah, bro.
And they were like outside, just come in.
Yeah.
Pay for one person.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
you're in there going,
Even underage clubs, because we didn't have that.
Far
We
out.
didn't have that back home. And over here, they were
Yeah.
going, we'll go to underage club. I was like, you fellas go, I've got my ID. And the boys started changing their IDs and then just tried getting into clubs and stuff.
guy pulled a gun on us, eh?
Oh,
First
serious?
time- yeah, man. Me and my mate, I won't name him, but
Yeah.
he's a doko, bro. Crack up. We were roaming the streets, and it was back when Chatterings. You remember Chatterings?
Chatterings,
Yeah.
They were everywhere.
Yeah.
All you could hear was spin. Yeah. Anyway, this guy, like your typical looking gangster looking dude, ponytail.
Yeah.
He's walking and he's trailed by this woman with a mink coat, and my mate calls out to her.
The girl.
Just propositioning her. Right, and then he walks over. He goes like, where are you guys from? And then he just goes through the series of, I got some mates and and like he pulls out, like he opens up his the inside of his jacket and his gun's there, and then my mate, he's funny. He's known for just some real funny, like he just forgets things, and he just looks at the guys. So you still interested? Like, bro, by then the Chatterings have stopped. Everyone's gone, bro. Everyone's seen the gun. So then I'm looking around going, Mete. I mean, no. Yeah. So, hey.
Shout out.
Yeah, man. I've seen the gun. Everyone's like, stop it. I said, bro, stop it, man.
No way.
No. I said, sorry. And then right then, this undercover, I remember this Chinese guy steps in between all of us. He says, is there anything going on here? Something going on here, boys. And the guy looks at him like he recognizes him. Because back on the Gold Coast, they used to have in Cavill Ave like a little booth where they had cameras and they used to, monitor
everything.
He would have popped out from there. And he was like, man, what's going on here? Is everything okay?
But it's pretty scary, when you think about like those types of things that happen. And I think for us it was kind of normal. But then if you think like once you have kids, if they were in that same environment.
Bro.
Because just thinking about Lay, I remember when I caught up with Lay in WA, and we went out, and one of the our general manager at the time of the company, he took us out for dinner. So because we were over there for work, and Lay, but at that time I was just flying in, flying out, and Lay met up with us, and we went out to dinner, Jamie Oliver restaurant or something. I remember sitting there, and this general manager, I won't say his name, but we're sitting there having dinner, and then it came up about my 18th birthday party, and man, I'm sure like this fella probably was thinking like either what the hell are these guys on, or are these guys exaggerating? But man, it was ruthless, bro. Like me and the other also. So I'm born, my birthday's on the 2nd of August. His is on the 3rd of August, and we had our 18th birthday at his house. Because I didn't have birthdays growing up, and so we had the birthday at his house. And then I remember a neighbor who was a friend of mine. He lived, up the street, like 10 houses down or whatever he was. Yeah. He ended up coming, and then he ended up having a 1 ounce with this fella at the party. So we tried to control it. Like I was at the front of the party, and he wanted to have a fight with this one-on-one with this, both my usos. This was the weird thing. And so I was like, okay, but like just one-on-one, that's it. Yeah. And then as soon as the uso got dropped, who lived up the road from one of the other usos, then his cousin blind shot the fellow that dropped him. And then after that, those two boys ran back to their house. So we had 100+ people at this party. So they all went back to these guys' house. And all went there, bro, and then it was just insane. Like, started going in, smashing the house. Wow. It was scary, bro. Like, when you think back, you go, man, this is scary. And then the next door neighbor came out with a spill. Wow. He was holding it, bro. And his wife and his 2 sons were there. And then one of my other usos went up to try and calm him down and speak to him. It was like, speaking to him in Samoa and just saying to him, it's just, don't want to trouble, all that type of stuff. Bro, the man swung at my uso and he put up his arm like that.
Wow.
Cut through his arm. And then it just went crazier from there, bro. And then I just remember seeing, because at that time it was the inorganics when they put out your rubbish. And I just remember looking over, bro, and one of the boys had this trampoline pole, and he's just smashing like the mum that's lying on top of the son.
Oh yeah.
He's just, bro, this is crazy, man.
It is.
This was crazy.
Yeah.
Not only was his house getting smashed up, you've got someone with a machete.
What was this?
This was in Mangere Bridge.
True.
Yeah, down Matapuri, man. And so that night was nuts, bro. The actual riot police came and everything. They did all their marches and they did all that stuff. And bro, that was insane. And I'm just thinking, man, like, because Lay was there. Lay was there, and then we were talking and we were just reminiscing about it and just having a laugh almost, like, man, those were crazy. Yeah, remember, one of the talkers when he did this, and it was like, bro, yeah, remember when the also did that? And he was like, yeah. And then like this fella that was with us for dinner from my work, because he, he's Caucasian. He must have been thinking, man, yeah. He's going, what are you guys like? Just looking at us, going, who are these guys? What are these guys? Yeah. So that was
have the
buzzy.
bill, please.
Yeah, exactly. No more drinks for you guys.
And while you guys are talking, he's like,
oh, guys, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. See ya. David Copperfield. He's gone.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So, man, and it's not until you actually think about that stuff and you go, man, that was jacked up.
Yeah.
Like if that happened with my daughters, bro, man, that's jacked up.
Yeah.
Or even things like our after parties, I think in 2000, our after party was at King Cobra's pad. And then even after that, bro, fortunately enough, I wasn't there. But the boy, because we flew out the next day, and I didn't go. I got grounded, so I wasn't allowed to go. But the boys were telling me, there was a massive scrap at this pad with all these KCs and stuff. And you're just going, man, like, I'd be horrified if I found out my daughter was at a place like that.
Yeah.
Even my sons, like if I had a son, I'd be horrified. But it's just
same.
fun. Yeah,
I just think about it with the boys. There's no way.
No way, man.
There's no way.
So it is pretty scary when you think about it. And unfortunately, especially back home, I think it's only just got worse.
Yeah.
I think especially from gangs and when you're looking at, talking about cost of living, all that type of stuff, I think that also then influences a lot of people to do, gangs or whatever it may be.
Because it's easier to make more money,
to
pay for
things, to pay for your family,
pay for your parents, help your parents.
So I think that's really sad. So things have got silly because you never heard of when we were growing up. There were never shootings.
Nah.
So now
that only happened as we were in the late 2000s.
Yeah. There's a period where there was some, and they cleaned it out.
But we thought like, it's just like a one-off sort of.
It's one-off. So now it's like, man, I remember. My cousin, when she just went back, when she was living here, she went back and bro, in like the first couple of weeks, there were like 3 shootings.
Yeah.
No one died, but still there's guns, bro. They were going off. And you're like, what?
Yeah. And it's crazy because
it's pretty scary.
People would say to me now, like, where did you grow up? It's like, South Auckland. It's like, that, look at the way it is now. And I'm like, I don't know that.
Yeah, same, bro. It's foreign.
I don't know that roughneck.
Yeah.
What I knew was definitely not on that level.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it wasn't always like, there wasn't the
guns, bro. There was always, scraps, hammers and all that type of stuff. Yeah. But still, there was, guns.
It's just look at us.
The normal stuff. The normal stuff, hammers, spells.
Just machetes and hammers. Guns.
Just normal, bro. Just normal stuff, baseball bats.
Day-to-day stuff, right?
Nothing new.
The things that you would like use to fix fences and stuff.
Yeah, the garden tools, sucketeers.
Sometimes you need to,
guns are too far, is it?
Just
normal stuff. Surely.
Man.
Scary, bro.
It is scary.
Yeah, it's scary.
It is scary. And you know what? I just hope that, they find a way, but unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be much change there, which is sad. So,
I just hope a lot of people that are in that position maybe just do what we did, come over here.
Yeah.
Hey. Or, you know, find something there that they can better themselves. And it's tough, man. Like when you're looking at those types of rents and stuff, that'd be tough.
Yeah.
That'd be tough, eh? Yeah.
Man, Zeb, do you have any closing words of encouragement or anything that's sort of top of mind, you know, in regards to what's worked for you, your philosophy on life, where it is right now, what you'd like to just encourage the next brother or sister that might be watching?
Man, I think a lot of what we talked about, we covered a lot tonight, which has been awesome.
Definitely.
You know? But I think, you know, things to think about is, and someone said it to me at Mum's funeral. This man said it to me at Mum's funeral. Is I was trying to get the words right, but he said that something like the most important thing is to make sure that the most important thing remains the most important thing. There's something like that.
Yeah.
And what he was kind of meaning was around, like, you know, family's the most important thing. Don't lose sight of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's with everything that you do in life.
Mm-hmm.
I think people will go through a journey. Like if you're 20 years old, you're going to be going through a different journey to when you're 30, to when you're 40. So you know, I think for me to say anything, it's kind of hard because it's you know, not everyone that's 20 years old is just focusing on family. I guess that's where I am right now in my journey. But I think something Mum always used to say, which has always stuck with me, and it's, you know, happiness isn't the destination; it's the journey there. Yeah. And I think that's probably relevant to everyone.
That's quite profound.
Yeah, I think that's quite relevant to everyone. Yeah. Doesn't matter what circumstance you're in. Yeah. I think if you can find happiness in just what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. It's just to have happiness in whatever you're doing. You know, those principles that we spoke about, if you can apply yourself. Because everyone's going to have a different motivator and a different driver, but I think if you can just apply those things, you know, just makes you a better person, no matter whether it's in work, whether it's in life, or whatever it may be. And then just to, I think the biggest thing what a lot of people don't do too is just being able to share that knowledge or share their experiences or
100.
You know, I think we haven't gone into too much detail, which I'm actually happy about, because I don't want to come on here and just be about, you know, my work, we've done this and that. It's kind of touched on everything.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, if someone finds something that works for you, then to share it with people,
100 also.
I think that's a big thing for me is, you know, because people will look at things differently that you might look at it, and it's having a conversation with someone. It's funny what people remember. You know, sometimes you meet up with someone you haven't seen them in a long time, and they go, "I remember this time you like that." I'm like, no, I don't remember that. I hate those ones.
When? You really want to go? But really,
remember that time when you? No.
What did I eat?
Yeah. Shout out to Jay. Shout out to Jay. So so it's just that stuff, bro. Like if said guys.
Shout out to Mete as well.
Says different Mete.
Two Mete. But it's I think if you can use that, bro, and you can apply that stuff, it's and you know, it's just what I always say to my kids: just be a good human being, man. You know, just be a good person. I think if you can do that, bro, and I think if you just take bits and pieces from all what we've been speaking about, it can make changes in whatever you do. The great thing with technology and stuff now, even about how we spoke about savings and stuff, you can Google that stuff and find a plan there and follow it. But yeah, I think find the happiness in what you do, man. Like I was saying, you know, happiness isn't a destination; it's the journey there. So
man, and just one more thing.
Yeah,
because I just became profoundly aware. Man, Jez and I were talking about this medium and how it gives an opportunity for us to speak into the future.
Yeah.
What do you want to say to Tilly, Isla, and Zoe?
In the future?
Yeah, like when they stumble across this, or they might see it now.
Yeah.
Forget about it for another 10, 20 years. And then just have a look and watch it again. That's Dad. Like, you know, what would you like to say to those three special, you know, women, girls in your life, your family?
Just that I love them. I think that's the most important thing. Everything I do in life now is for them. I'm proud. I'm so proud of my girls, my wife. I'm proud to call them my wife. I'm proud to call them my daughters. And I think just having a look at that, and I guess recapping on this, bro, one of the, talk about success, and I saw that on your snippet. For me, a successful moment in life for me was when my mum was on her deathbed dying, and her saying that she didn't worry about me. That was success for me.
Wow. Because
my mum, for probably a good 26 years of my life, she worried about me. And this wasn't because I was just a bit of a lost soul. I didn't have much direction or anything. So for her to be on her deathbed and look at me and smile and say, son, I'm so proud of you. I know when I go that you're going to be just fine because you have a wonderful wife and a wonderful daughter. I didn't have my Isla then. That was a pinnacle, I guess, part of my life when I talk about success, because for me, to see my mum at ease and not have to and be able to close her eyes and not have to worry about me, bro, game changer.
That's
for
awesome.
me. So I think, for me, it was just having a look at it for my girls and my family. I'm proud of you and I love you. And everything I do for you is out of love. I guess, we're always trying to, I will always try to do whatever I can to help you and get you to where you want to be in life. So, in service to my family also.
Awesome. Thanks, Zeb.
Awesome.
Man, you know what? We might, I haven't spoken to Joe about this, but I was thinking, because we have the opportunity to jump on live, man, would you come back and do a live with us? Maybe watch the World Cup games?
Yeah, hard adults.
Something fun,
bro.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah, happy to do that, bro.
Reminisce on the last time, 2007.
Yeah, I reckon it's a great idea. Because that was the last time, bro. Yeah. Well, probably had a proper catch up.
Joe's in my garden, hitting his shoulders. That's all I remember about that night. I was like, all right.
Just servicing the fence.
Sorry, I think you were sleeping under a desk.
Bro, I wasn't. So I remember sleeping on the floor. Yeah, I just remember sleeping on the floor. And after we got our bums handled to by France, bro.
Yeah, by France.
Oh, that was so emotional.
The knock on, there wasn't a knock on.
That's right.
And their forward pass was never called.
Yeah. But definitely keen to do that also.
We'll pick a World Cup game and do like a all-nighter.
That sounds good to me.
It sounds like a plan, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll bring the cookies.
Thanks, Uso.
Thank you, Uso.
Man.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Uso.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
So much, bro.
Yeah. Keep doing what you boys are doing, man. It's awesome.
Thank you, brother.
Ayos.
Love this.